Pokémon, the story of Yu. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26, Bet with Sirona. Otherwise, why is it called a ghost system? Haunter can pull your soul out of your body to play with it. Do you want to feel the feeling of only having a soul? Yu said. No, thank you. Sirona refused decisively. It was fine like this. She didn't want to try the feeling of separating her body and soul. What if something unexpected happened? That's a pity. The feeling of flying is pretty good, Yu said. When he was a child, he and Kikuko's Jenga played it many times. You guys are leaving this weekend. Sirona changed the subject. That's right, Yu said. Originally, the time to come here to study archaeology was only a little more than a week, but first there was a natural disaster, and then there was the galaxy team. It was beyond the plan. Now the ruins have been blown up, and there is no need for archaeology, so naturally he has to go back. He will go back to Pokémon school this week. Then we are separated this time. I don't know when we will meet next time. Sirona said. If you want to meet, you can video chat online. Technology is advanced now, and it won't be too long. 1 year, I will come during the Sinnoh Champions League, Yu said. You only have 3 Pokémon now, 2 elites and 1 advanced, not even 6. With such strength, you are confident that you can win this quartz conference? Sirona said with a smile. Of course, how about a bet? Whoever loses owes the other a condition. Yu raised his eyebrows. Sirona frowned slightly, shook her head and said, no, if I lose the bet, I will be unhappy, but if I win the bet, I will be cursing you to lose the game. No, it's if I win. In this way, although you lose the bet, your friend wins and you are happy, and if I lose, although one of your friends loses the game, you win the bet. So no matter what, you win, Yu said. Think differently. Okay. Sirona thought for a while and agreed. Of course, she didn't believe Yu's nonsense. She was not a little firehorse. The reason why she didn't want to bet was that she didn't want to lose, and she felt that it was not good to hope that Yu would lose, but Yu insisted, so she didn't care. She still felt that Yu had little chance of winning. She had a higher chance of winning. It was obviously a win to get the condition of being the sole heir of the Kyojin family for free. And if she lost, it would be fine to do the small condition of an 11-year-old champion. She admired talented trainers. Taking a step back, if the conditions were too much, she would just not do it, right? It wasn't written in black and white. No matter how Sirona calculated, she was invincible. It's a deal. See you at the next Sinnoh Champions League, Yu said. See you at the Champions League. Sirona and Yu clapped their hands. Looking at Sirona's back as she left, Yu's mouth curled up slightly. It would be about a year before the quartz conference. Then the quartz conference would end, and about 3 months later, the Champions League would be held. The time left for herself was about 15 months. 6 Pokémon, 3 Quasi Kings. The flag was set first. Although with his current strength, it is impossible to become one of the 4 Heavenly Kings and the champion when the Champions League begins. However, he must make it to the quarterfinals in the Champions League. He cannot participate in vain. As long as he makes it to the quarterfinals in the Champions League, even if he fails, he can become a candidate for the king, and he can fill in the vacant position of the king without having to fight again. Just like Aju, he will go to Johto to be the Poison King next year, and he will take the position directly without having to go through additional battles. Because he once reached the semifinals in the Champions League and got the opportunity to challenge the original 4 Heavenly Kings. So he can take the position directly. The quarterfinals are also possible. And in the Champions League, only 3 people have to fight before the quarterfinals. With his heart surging and self-motivated, Yu looked at the time and prepared to take a shower and go to bed. However, when he returned to the room, he heard someone calling him from behind. Yu turned around and saw Lusamine behind him and turned back and said, hello, auntie, is there anything? His face was also a little embarrassed. Lusamine was invited by him, but she came all the way here, only to be interrogated by her aunt like a criminal. It's like this, it's not a big deal, but next week, my daughter Lily will go to Kanto Pokémon School, and I hope you can take good care of Lily. Lusamine said. No problem. Yu agreed immediately. It's just that I don't have a very good relationship with people in Pokémon School, and with this incident, I guess I will become half a public enemy. If Lily makes friends with me, she may be excluded. It's okay. Lily is a little shy, and you are not much different. Lusamine said. Auntie, excuse me, why do you want Lily to go to school here? Isn't it more convenient in Alala? Yu said. Although Lily is afraid of Pokémon, she has loved Pokémon since she was a child, so she must go to Pokémon School. Principal Oak's Pokémon School was originally good, but last year a meteorite suddenly fell, and a Rayquaza flew from the sky and fought with a Pokémon. As a result, most of the Pokémon School was demolished, so classes were temporarily suspended. Lusamine said. Alala's Pokémon School was also attacked by Rayquaza? Yu asked in surprise. Meteorite, Rayquaza. Did it fight with Deoxys again? To everyone's surprise, Rayquaza came down like this. Fortunately, although the damage was not small, there were no casualties. It just needs to be put on hold for the time being. Lusamine said. Yu nodded. No one was killed, so it was a small matter. Principal Oak Chengai, Professor Oak's cousin, also had a rich family. Aunt Lusamine, I have some questions about Lily. I want to ask, why is Lily afraid to touch Pokémon? You said she liked Pokémon since she was a child. There must be a reason for this. Yu said. When this question was mentioned, Lusamine's face became heavy and said, I don't know. She has always liked Pokémon since she was a child. She is the most lively and active, but I don't know when it started. Suddenly one day she became afraid to touch Pokémon and dared not touch it. I asked carefully, but I couldn't get the reason. Then it has been until now. Aunt, didn't you use other ways to continue asking? Yu asked. No, Zaobo has done a complete research. I don't think there will be any problem. Lusamine said. Yu glanced at Lusamine. Lusamine is a very successful businessman and entrepreneur. It can be seen from her other foundation becoming the first enterprise in Alala, but she is really not a qualified mother. When something like this happened to her daughter suddenly, she listened to the assistant. And this assistant is the culprit of everything. As a reborn person, Yu knew very well that Lily was afraid of Pokémon because she met Zaobo, who secretly opened the ultimate cave for research when she was a child and was frightened by the ultimate beast that came out of it. So what can be found out by letting the person who made the mistake investigate? No wonder Gladion, the eldest son of Lusamine, ran away from home. There was a reason for that. However, Yu and Lusamine were not familiar with each other, and it was the biggest taboo to talk about deep things with someone you just met. So Yu didn't say much, and went straight back to his room. Chapter 27 Returning Home. By SYNOPSIS. Yu sat on the plane flying to Kanto, overlooking the land of SYNOPSIS. Although this expedition was beyond his expectations, from a simple archaeological study to a battle of escape. But he also gained a lot. He got a new partner, Absol. Although he is a bit picky about food and his skill points are a bit crooked, he is definitely a good partner. In addition, getting the gift from Giratina is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Haunter has the potential of a legendary beast. Although it is not very good at the moment, with the effect of time, the future is bright. He has opened up a power similar to superpowers, and his life is more stable. After finishing this semester, he can consider traveling and playing in the league. Especially Giratina gave him the ability to enter and exit the reverse world. As long as there is a mirror, he can enter and exit the reverse world freely, and the safety factor is greatly increased, so he can have fun. Did the Platinum Jade Soul really disappear? Sajo asked. Of course, I have encountered Giratina, and I'm lucky to come back alive. Do you still want me to take away what originally belonged to it from Giratina? Yu asked. He and Haunter did not announce the gift from Giratina, but he and Hosei and Zengxing entered the reverse world together, so these things were still announced. After all, there is nothing to hide about these things. If you deliberately hide them, it will make people think too much and cause trouble. I'm just curious. After all, not everyone has the opportunity to see Giratina. Seicheng said. Next time I have a chance, I will take you with me. But you are not as good looking as me. Maybe Giratina will eat you directly. Yu said. Thinking of the rumored information about Giratina, Seicheng's face trembled and changed the subject. Your two Pokémon are both elite level. Do you want to take the upgrade test after you go back? The 3 grade levels of Pokémon School correspond to the 3 levels of junior trainers, intermediate trainers, and advanced trainers. Then pass the graduation exam and reach the elite trainer level, which is the level of 8 badges. There are exams every year. If you pass, you will be promoted. If you fail, you will be retained. But if you are good enough, everything is up to you, and you can skip grades. You can even graduate in one go. No, it doesn't make much difference to me which grade I'm in. Anyway, I know almost everything the teachers teach, and I can just read the books by myself. That's it. I'll apply for graduation at once, when the quartz conference comes. Yu said. Besides, Lily doesn't even have a Pokémon, so if she comes to school here, she'll basically have to sit in the elementary class until she dies. What's the situation for Yu's further study now? Okay. Try your best to win the championship. The school's enrollment rate next year depends on you. Zeduo Cheng said. The Pokémon School tutorial is known as a winning guide, but the sad thing is that it has not won the championship for 20 consecutive years. It has not entered the top 16 for 10 consecutive years. It's getting harder and harder to fool people, and all the hope is on Yu. Yu rolled his eyes. If it weren't for the fact that he was not allowed to play with his mobile phone on the plane, he really didn't bother to pay attention to Zeduo Cheng. Adjusting the angle of the seat, Yu simply closed his eyes and fell asleep, falling into a sweet dream. After a long time, the plane landed. Zeduo Cheng patted Yu on the shoulder, and Yu opened his eyes, got up, and got off the plane. It's getting late. Let's go to the restaurant next door and have a meal. After that, we'll take the bus back to school, Zeduo Cheng said to a group of students. After flying for half a day, everyone was indeed a little hungry, so they all went to the restaurant to eat. Yu had a simple meal, but before he finished, his phone suddenly rang. Yu picked up the phone and saw that it was a call from the Golden City Pokémon Center. With curiosity on his face, he turned on the video call mode. Zyos's face appeared on the phone screen. Zyosy, what do you want to see me for? Yu asked curiously. Yu, Professor Oak said that you are an expert in ghost type, right? Zyosy asked. Compared to you, I'm an expert in all aspects, Yu said bluntly. Then can you do me a favor? Zyosy said. Go ahead, Yu said simply. Zyosy is one of his few friends. As long as the matter is not big, he doesn't mind helping. And the things Zyosy encounters are generally not big. If it is too big, like the battle of the mythical beasts, Zyosy will solve it himself. I challenge the gym in Golden City, but the gym trainer here, Nancy, is too strong. She and her Brotherhood are much stronger than me and Pikachu, and we can't beat them. A kind uncle told us that ghost type restrains psychic type, and asked us to capture ghost type Pokémon. So I want to ask you, how to capture it? Zyosy said. Did you challenge Nancy? Have you finished fighting Masashi? Yu said. I finished fighting some time ago. I thought Nancy wouldn't be too difficult, but Nancy's psychic power is too strong. Zyosy was a little frustrated. Before, when he fought Masashi, Pikachu was seriously injured by Raichu, but he was not so desperate and still had high morale. But this time, although he and Pikachu were not injured, they were very desperate. Seeing Zyos's depressed expression, Yu's heart moved. Although Zyosy didn't have much brains, he had always been a representative of optimism, passionate and energetic. No matter what setbacks he suffered, he could be resurrected on the spot with full status. Now this is really rare. Then, Yu clicked his fingers and recorded the screen silently. It's such a rare opportunity, so of course we have to preserve it. Yu, do you know how to better capture Ghastly? Zyosy didn't notice Yu's action at all and still asked. It's very simple. First, beat him up. There are very few things in this world that can't be solved by violence. If you don't accept it, just fight. But your strength is not up to the standard now. If you fight hard, you are more likely to be killed. So choose to brush up your favorability and play with them. If they have fun, they should help you. Yu said. After all, Zyossi has a passive buff, and the favorability of wild Pokémon will automatically increase by 50%. Play with them? Isn't it generally necessary to fight to capture Pokémon? Can you just play? Zyossi said with a little bit of uncertainty. Yu raised his eyebrows. Anyone can say this, but you don't have the qualifications. How many of the ones you have now were captured by your own ability? Pikachu, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charmander, which one didn't rely on face brushing? You have at most 6 Pokémon in your hand now, and here are 4 that rely on face recognition. Who gave you the face to ask this question? Yu resisted the urge to scold him, chatted with Zyossi for a few words, fooled him away, and then continued to eat. Psychic type Nancy, the 4th gym trainer, is she very strong? Sunday asked while eating. Her strength was rated at 3 badges. She was preparing for the upgrade test recently. It was also to challenge Nancy. It's ridiculously strong. Yu said. The strength distribution of gyms in Kanto is really uneven. Except for Kanto, gym trainers in most regions are at elite level, but they often adjust their strength according to the strength of the challenger. Although the strength is not fixed, most trainers fluctuate up and down on the elite level. The strong ones are not too strong, and the weak ones are not too weak. Only in Kanto, the weak ones have Pokémon that do not even have high level strength, such as Cerulean City, and the general combat power is only the combat power of high level Pokémon, and elites are rare. But they are so strong that they can scare a group of people to death. Tokiwa Sasaki beats everyone with just 1 Mewtwo. Crimson Summer, a copy of Oak, wins the game until he is bored and does scientific research. Finally, Golden Nancy uses psychic powers with Pokémon, which is a fair fight of 2 against 1. If you don't go around, few league trainers can beat Nancy. How strong is that? Although psychic systems are difficult, they are not invincible. I can beat an Adoking at random. The first place in the intermediate class heard the conversation and interrupted. The first place in the intermediate class, according to official assessment, has the strength of 5 badges. He passed Nancy in the game simulation. As long as you find the right method, all gyms are easy to pass. Only some people who don't study hard will find those gym trainers difficult to beat. The first place in the advanced class said proudly, he has the strength of 7 badges. Yu raised his eyebrows. Are you targeting me? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28 Lily. Being stared at by Yu, the top student in the senior class, felt a little bit uncomfortable, but he still looked up with a proud look on his face. He was indeed talking about Yu. After all, those who can go to school and Pokémon are from wealthy families and have been pampered since childhood. It is impossible to say that he is not angry when he is treated as a prisoner for the first time. He can't do anything to Yu. But let me say a few words. Can the king of Kikuko and others come to beat up a student of his? You all think that the Golden Gym is easy to beat? Yu said to the group of people in the senior class. It is difficult for some people who are not serious or have no talent, but for those of us who are both talented and serious, it is not difficult at all. The top student in the senior class said. They are all people who can definitely participate in the league meeting this year. How could they not beat a gym trainer? Not difficult at all. Yu looked at the group of people with a sympathetic expression and said, I didn't know the meaning of ignorance and fearlessness before. Thank you for letting me understand this word. You are all outstanding people who can live with the belief of ignorance until now. At least I can't do it. What did you say? The head of the senior class was furious when he heard it and stood up and looked at Yu. Don't think that we dare not hit you just because you are the nephew of King Juzi. I dare, I believe, no need to emphasize. After all, people like you who live on the belief of ignorance, there is nothing I dare not do. Yu said calmly. You are ignorant, a coward. The head of the senior class said. Ignorance has knowledge, what matters is ability. Tomorrow is Saturday and we have a holiday. We don't have to go to school. It takes less than a day to take a plane from here to Golden City. If you want to prove that you are invincible, bring the badge of the Golden Gym to me, and I will admit that you have knowledge. Yu said. Okay, that's it. You wait. I will definitely make you apologize to me. The head of the senior class said proudly. Yes, and us. The other 5 people in the intermediate and advanced levels shouted. Who among them is not as strong as the 5 gyms? The Golden Gym was easily defeated. It's alright. Yu said calmly. Go ahead, I won't stop you. As long as it's not my teammate, the more heads are sent from 1,000 miles away, the better. I'm happy to see it. If it's the opponent, it's even better. By the way, Nancy should also be grateful to me for giving her so many dolls for free. A group of intermediate and advanced students, arrogant, with shining eyes, seemed to see themselves getting back the badges, and Yu bowed his head to apologize to them one by one. After dinner, a group of people got on the bus and returned to the school they had been away from for a long time at night and went to sleep. After that, they enjoyed a peaceful life safely. Until 6 o'clock on Sunday, Yu brought Haunter and Absol to the airport again. Holding the Lily sign high, looking at the photos, looking for people everywhere. But when the plane came down, a swarm of people came down, and Yu couldn't tell where Lily was for a while. Are you the Yu that my mother mentioned? Just when Yu was still searching around without a clue, a timid and delicate voice sounded in her ears. Yu looked in the direction of the voice, and her eyes suddenly lit up. She saw a girl wearing a big sun hat appear in front of her. Her long soft golden hair fell like a waterfall. Her skin was delicate and smooth, like cream, and her big watery eyes were pure and innocent. At this moment, Yu seemed to see a princess in a fairy tale walking out of a fairy tale book. Yes, I'm Yu. You must be Lilia. Yu smiled. It was rare that the real person looked better than the photo. Yes, I'm Lilia. After making sure that she had not found the wrong person, Lilia's pretty face showed a happy expression. She ran to Yu with a huge suitcase. Her fair face was a little red because of the jogging. She said, hello, my name is Lilia. Next, please take care of me. It's just a matter of convenience, not a trouble. Yu reached out and took Lilia's suitcase and walked forward. Lilia followed closely, playing with her 2 golden braids with her 2 little hands with a little uneasiness. After all, it was their first meeting. The 2 got in the car, and Yu sat in the driver's seat to drive. This world is unscientific, and he can drive at the age of 10. Yu got his driver's license at the age of 9. The customs and habits of Kanto and Alola are quite similar. You shouldn't have too much trouble learning here. If there is anything you are not used to, you can also tell me. Yu said while driving. The customs and habits between Kanto and Alola are very similar. Especially the countryside, which is a perfect overlap, unlike the place of Unova. If Alola goes there, he will most likely be laughed at. I will. Mother said that, if there is any trouble here, I can find you. Lilia said. Yes, the spirit of Alola is sharing. Sharing all the gifts of nature. Sharing happiness. Doubling happiness. Sharing pain. Reducing pain. Yu smiled. You also know the spirit of Alola. Lilia seemed to have found a common topic, and her little face was filled with joy. I know. A few years ago, I traveled there, and I used my lucky money to invest in a bear cake shop and a bear playground. Yu said. Are the bear cake shop and bear playground yours? Lily said in surprise. There's nowhere to spend the lucky money. Yu said. Alola is really Yu's ideal place for retirement. Yu really thought about going there for retirement in the future. And because it is so well protected, it is really like a paradise, with rich wild resources. Land shark is actually used as a means of transportation, and Milotica can be caught in the sea. Can you believe these? So he and Zima decided to start a side business together. As for why Zima was so willing, it was because Yu recommended a Pokémon to him, Scaled Armored Dragon. In theory, it is also a quasi-god in the game, but I don't know why it is not taken seriously in Alola. Yu recommended Zima to start. By the way, they made a bet. If the armored dragon of the staff-tailed is indeed of excellent genes, when Ziva's armored dragon of the staff-tailed will reproduce, one will be given to Yu. If it is not excellent, Yu will persuade the bear wearing to give the bear doll to Zim before training. Although the bear doll is not Yu's, Yu just helped the bear wearing find his son. The relationship is relatively good, but it has not reached this level. But it doesn't matter, anyway, it has been established. You are awesome. Lily looked at Yu with admiration. The bear wearing cake and the bear wearing amusement park are very famous in Alala. Unexpectedly, it is an industry of Yu who is the same age as himself. Yu shrugged. The good development of the enterprise actually has little to do with his personal ability. It is mainly because he stands on the shoulders of giants. This three-eared rat is not the same as the three-eared rat in our Alala. Lily said as she looked at a three-eared rat that suddenly appeared on the ground on the side of the road. Because the environment in your Alala region is special and is also affected by the ultimate magnetic field, many Pokémon develop differently from those in other regions. Yu said. Under normal circumstances, the 3 Digletts look like the normal Digletts in the Whack-A-Mole game, but there are only 3 of them. The 3 Digletts in Alala have beards and blonde hair. To be honest, Yu thinks it's a bit eye-catching. Of course, this is nothing. He thinks the most eye-catching thing should be the stinky mud. Normal stinky mud is just a pool of mud, but it is very smelly and purple. But the stinky mud in Alala is actually colorful and colorful. Ugly things will only be uglier with more colors. Chatting along the way, Yu found that Lilia really likes Pokémon. They talked about Pokémon all the way and were knowledgeable. She is also innocent and kind, a very cute and beautiful girl. 8 years later, it should be worth watching. Chapter 29 The Missing Student. Today we have a new student from Alala, Lily. Welcome her. In the elementary class, the head teacher Helping introduced Lily to everyone. Lily appeared on the podium with ease. In the class, a group of boys' eyes lit up immediately. In this world, people become adults at the age of 10, so they are generally precocious. Although both men and women can become Pokémon trainers, there are more boys who are truly powerful trainers. Many girls raise Pokémon just like raising pets, and they don't have so much time to study and fight. In previous years, the ratio of male to female players in the Quartz Conference was generally between 3 to 2 and 2 to 1. The Pokémon school is similar, although Utocida is the big sister. Hello, everyone, I'm Lily. Lily introduced herself to everyone briefly, and her cute and sweet smile made the eyes of a group of animals shine again. Cedar's eyebrows jumped. She felt that her position was about to be lost. Sit in that seat. Helping pointed to the seat next to Yu. In the class, only the seat next to Yu was empty. Because he offended the big sister, no one dared to sit next to him. And the superiors had already explained it. Lilia naturally sat next to Yu. Since she was unfamiliar with the place, it was safest to sit next to Yu. A group of people in the class stared at Yu with murderous eyes. Yu was indifferent throughout the whole process. It was like this before. If ice could kill, he would have been beaten to death by these Sunday fans. After introducing the new classmates, Helping started the class as usual. Everything was not much different from usual. If there was anything different, it was that Lilia performed outstandingly. Theoretical knowledge, full level. Sunday was more motivated than ever before, but he didn't suppress it. In addition, Yu was not feeling well. Because his desk mat was too active, he was embarrassed to sleep on the table. Looking at the active Lilia, Yu suddenly felt a little regretful. The standard 40 minutes passed, and the bell rang. Yu stood up and moved around. He originally wanted to take the little fire horse to training, but when he saw Lilia next to him, Yu cancelled the plan and said, I'll take you around the school. Okay. Lilia nodded and followed Yu to walk outside. What a cute girl. She has a nice voice and looks good. And she's rich. Didn't you notice that the clothes she wears are all custom made? Fair, rich and beautiful. In the classroom, watching Lilia leave, a group of students suddenly burst into a heated discussion. But Yu got it first. Do you have any solution? Tanagawa said. In terms of appearance, I won't discourage you. Everyone has their own aesthetics, but in terms of grades, Yu is first. In terms of family background, Yu is still first. Can you compare? Dating is not just about grades. It requires skills. She knows so much about Pokémon. She must like Pokémon very much. I'll buy a Pikachu. It's so cute. Lilia must like it. A student retorted. I'll go find Evie. A group of students thought about how to please Lilia. Sunday frowned, feeling that his fanboy had betrayed him. He snorted coldly and started to study. Yu took Lilia to travel around the school, introduced the school, and then began to train the little fire horse. At present, this Pokémon is still at a high level, and it needs to work hard to improve its level. A red light passed through the woods, fighting with various wild Pokémon to improve its strength. Yu, your little fire horse is so powerful, Lilia said sincerely. There is still some training. Do you want to command it? Yu said. I will. Lilia was stunned. I can't do it. You just don't dare to touch the Pokémon, but you don't have to touch it when you command it. Yu said. I don't dare to touch the Pokémon. Theoretically, as long as I want to touch it, I can touch it. Lilia blushed and retorted with her neck stiff. Yu looked at Lilia with a funny expression. He almost forgot that Lilia was a bit stubborn. Although she didn't dare to touch the Pokémon, she didn't admit it. Then Lilia, who is not afraid of touching Pokémon, would you like to try it? Yu asked. Yeah. Lilia nodded. It should be possible. As long as I don't touch it, I should like it very much. When the little fire horse heard that Yu was going to give it to someone else to train for the time being, it showed a curious expression, looked at Lilia, and ran over affectionately. Haunter is naughty, and Absol is arrogant. The little fire horse is gentle and kind, and doesn't mind being good friends with anyone. But when the little fire horse ran over, Lilia's first reaction was to petrify her body. She was instinctively startled and hid behind Yu. Yu looked at Lilia playfully, saying that she was not afraid. As for the object of study, I like Pokémon the most. Lilia said, touching is an exception. If you really like Pokémon, take the first step bravely, or find a way to understand why you hate Pokémon. Some things don't disappear if you just leave them alone. Yu played the role of a life mentor and then continued training. Lilia looked a little disappointed. She didn't know why she was like this. She liked Pokémon very much, but she just didn't dare to touch them. She sat quietly aside, holding her cheek with her hand, watching Yu train. After that, she lived such a simple and peaceful life for several days. Until Friday, when she was sleeping, Zeduo Cheng found Yu. What are you doing? You suddenly came to me in the middle of the night. It's scary. Yu looked at Zeduo Cheng and said unhappily. Don't be silly. Did Tsuji, Xiaochan, Hanglian and others listen to you and go to the Golden Gym to challenge? Zeduo Cheng said. Who? Yu said. Don't pretend. Sunday has already told me that you made a bet with them and asked them to go to the Golden Gym to challenge. Zeduo Cheng said. Oh, you mean those idiots? So, they are called this name. You said the name, but I don't know who it is. Besides, you know everything. Why are you asking me? Yu said. They took a plane to challenge last weekend, and they haven't come back since then. Zeduo Cheng said with anger. So what? Does it mean that you are inefficient? The ones who disappeared last weekend are only looking for me now. If I were a parent, I would never let my child go to school. Yu said. Stop talking nonsense. We didn't care at first. We thought they were just skipping classes. But when we checked the dormitories at night, we found out that they were not there. Then we started looking for them. With the help of Miss Junsha, we found out that they took a plane and left. Then we found out that it was your fault. Zeduo Cheng said. Then, you came to me. You won't go to the Golden Gym? Yu looked at Zeduo Cheng strangely. Things have already happened, so why bother about the reasons? Solve the problems first, then find the reasons. Do you think we didn't go? 7 elite teachers in our school went to negotiate with Nancy, but now only one person has returned. The other 6 and the previous students were all turned into rag dolls by Nancy and left in the Golden Gym. Zeduo Cheng almost shouted the last sentence. There are only a few elite trainers in the school. If they don't come, the school's teaching system will collapse next Monday. All turned into rag dolls? Yu's mouth curled up slightly. As expected, sending someone ahead from 1,000 miles away is more important than the gift. The collection has exceeded 1,000 for the first time, and I will add one more chapter. Chapter 30 Conditions Negotiated. Are you still gloating? Zeduo Cheng looked at Yu's raised mouth, veins popping out on his forehead. What's the matter? I didn't force them to go. They have to prove it themselves. What does it have to do with me? Yu said. But the cause of the incident is you. Nancy has already said that she won't hand it over unless someone defeats her, and if you fight her and lose, you will be turned into a rag doll. Zeduo Cheng said. Oh, so, you guys gave away 6 heads in anger, and the last one realized that the gap between the enemy and us was huge, so you came back to ask for help. Yu said. No, after they failed in the battle, they all started fighting together, trying to fight back the students, but before they released the Pokémon, the people were controlled by Nancy and turned into rag dolls. If it wasn't for a mysterious person, no one would have escaped. Zeduo Cheng said. Of course, the people in the school are not all fools. If they can't beat them, they can use other means. But the problem is that Nancy, the trainer, is more powerful than her Pokémon. That's right. Yu nodded. No one is friends with Nancy because of her superpowers that are too strong, since she was a child and she can't control herself and often hurts others. Therefore, Nancy has a withdrawn personality, but she is not a bad person in essence. She still strictly follows what gym trainers do. If you challenge her, she will fight you according to the gym rules and will not use superpowers to attack her. But if you don't challenge her and play dirty, then she won't worry. Superpowers attacking trainers are definitely faster than attacking Pokémon. As for the mysterious man, if I'm not mistaken, it should be Nancy's dad. Why don't we call the police? If there is something, find the police. Yu said. If it's useful, they've already come out. When Nancy was dueling with someone, she said that if she lost, she would become his rag doll, which was equivalent to the conclusion of the contract. She didn't have to fight, but if she did, she would bear the consequences. It's hard for Miss Junshi to help. After all, there is no one with stronger superpowers than Nancy in the whole of Kanto. In the eyes of the Alliance, she is a treasure. As long as no one dies, the Alliance doesn't care. Just let us figure it out ourselves. Zeduo Cheng said. Oh, I see. So, you came to me to tell me this news, just to make me happy. Yu said. I came here to ask you to solve it. You are the culprit of everything. Now the problem is big. You solve it. Otherwise, their parents come to make trouble, and it will be difficult to deal with it. Zeduo Cheng said. Whatever, it's not like I put a knife on their necks and forced them to go. Can you blame me for this? Do you have the ability to snatch people from Nazi? It's as if my family is worse than Nazis. Yu smiled indifferently. Big trouble. How big is it? Can you kill me? Young master, please think about the school, okay? The parents of the students who were arrested are mostly first-class wealthy people. If something happens to them, it will have a great impact on our school. Zeduo Cheng collapsed. That group of people together can't deal with Nazi, let alone the Kyojin family and the Sasaki family, but they can affect the school. Students make trouble and have accidents during the holidays. That's their own business. What does it have to do with the school? Yu asked back. But they handed the students to us, so we have a responsibility. Although sometimes it is indeed their own fault, we can't say that. Otherwise, how can we recruit students next year? We are not a public school. Moreover, it is you who asked them to go. Young master, you are the nephew of the largest shareholder of our school, and you can't explain it clearly. Zeduo Cheng said. Oh, then how about you expel me and give an explanation to those parents? Yu said. If we fire you, we won't have to open our school anymore. Zeduo Cheng said frantically. If it was an ordinary student who did such a thing, the school might really fire that student to eliminate the anger of those parents. After all, those parents have considerable power. But this target is Yu. That's nonsense. If they fire Yu, they can also find a new job the next day. Student Yu, if you can solve this matter, we can provide you with a generous reward. Just when Zeduo Cheng collapsed, a full-bodied voice sounded outside. Yu looked up and saw a slightly bald middle-aged man standing outside. Principal, long time no see. It seems that this is the second time we meet after so long since we enrolled. Yu said. Yes, but I think student Yu doesn't want to see me often. Principal Yuteng laughed. Student Yu gave the conditions. We will do what we can so that everyone will be good. After all, student Yu doesn't want those people to die, right? and they have been turned into rag dolls for a few days, and they have suffered enough. He is the second largest shareholder of this school and the actual person in charge. Moreover, unlike the Sasaki family, who are rich and powerful, they don't care if the school is gone. For Principal Yuto, this is his family's biggest industry. They can't afford to gamble. How can you be sure that I can solve this matter? Yu said. You created this problem, so you must have a way to solve it. Sasaki said. What you said is very illogical. If I can push someone into the abyss, can I pull him out of the abyss? If I punch you now, can I still heal you? Yu asked back. But I think classmate Yu has a way to solve it. Principal Yuto said. What can you give me? Yu said. 100-year charcoal can increase the power of fire type tricks. I believe classmate Yu needs it. Principal Yuto said. Add another fire evolution stone. Yu said. Fire evolution stones are necessary for the evolution of some Pokémon. For example, Growlithe evolves into Windy Dog and Eevee evolves into Flamew. They evolve directly when touched. Other Pokémon don't have this treatment, but this does not mean that fire evolution stones are ineffective against them. These fire evolution stones contain extremely pure fire energy. Wearing them can increase the affinity of fire Pokémon to fire power. No problem. Principal Yuto said. This expenditure is within his acceptable range. If Yu can't solve it, he will have to find a trainer who is at least at the Quasi-King level to challenge Nancy. Nancy's brawl is not very strong, only at the elite level. With Nancy's mental power bonus, it will reach the Quasi-King level, but that's it. It won't be higher. But the bit of a trainer at the Quasi-King level will not be lower than this, and it may not be able to solve it. Only the king can solve it 100%. But the price of hiring a king, Principal Yuto dare not think about it. Okay, solve the problem within a week. Now go back to your own homes, find your own parents, and don't disturb my sleep. In short, everything will be normal after a week. Yu said. Principal Yuto left with his people. If Yu said so, it will definitely be solved. If not, Yu can also find someone from his family to solve it. Is that Nancy very powerful? Can you beat her? Yu sent a group of people away and was about to take a rest when a cute voice sounded. Lily was standing at the door. The school dormitory is divided into 3 levels. The third level is for 4 people, the second level is for 2 people, and the first level is for single people. Yu and Lily are both in this situation, and they are mixed together and next to each other. Of course, I can't beat him, Yu said directly. Although in theory, the dark type is immune to the attacks of the psychic type, and the psychic type is harmless to the dark type, and Absol is a dark type, which can be immune to the attacks of the psychic type and beat Nancy. But in this real world, where Pikachu can electrocute the ground type in succession, if you really regard these attribute restraints as unshakable rules, then this person is either a fool or an idiot. Moreover, the psychic type's ultimate move, Miracle Eye, can allow the psychic type's ultimate move to damage dark type Pokémon. And it just so happens that Nancy's main force, Brave, is one of the few Pokémon that can learn this ultimate move. So unless Yu's brain is broken, he will never challenge Nancy. What should I do? Lilia said anxiously, even though she agreed to it. Cold salad, tomatoes and eggs, for supper at night. Yu smiled indifferently. Yu really has no way to defeat Nancy head on, unless he lets his aunt take action, but the income and expenditure are completely disproportionate. However, Zyossi has now reached the Golden Gym, so it won't be long before Nancy is captured. Zyossi, who aims to be a Pokémon master, is not only a master of releasing animals, a master of flying, a king of picking up leaks, and a super rookie, but also a part-time gym trainer reformer. After 20 years of ups and downs, and having experienced countless gym trainers, there are always some with problems, and after being beaten by Zyossi, one by one, they all become cheerful trainers. Nancy will not be an exception, not the first, nor the last, but she must be one of them. So, just do nothing. At most a week, Zyossi will be able to pass the level, and those rag dolls can also be human. Chapter 31, The Student Ready for Revenge. Let's go back. By the way, tell Yu that I have got the 4th badge. I will defeat him at the Quartz Conference, at the entrance of the Golden Gym. Zyossi said to the group of people who had just been released by Nancy. The teachers of the Pokémon school were fine. They said they would definitely send them, but the expressions of the students were as if their parents had died. Ozzy didn't know what happened. Yu just asked him to help. If he succeeded, he would give him a set of Pokémon cards that were limited to 100 sets issued by the Alliance. Ozzy naturally helped with something that was incidental. Now that the work is done, under the setting sun, he continued to move towards the unattainable goal of becoming a Pokémon master with Zyargang and Zyarksha. I didn't expect that we would be saved by a student friend in the end. A teacher at the Pokémon school said. Yes, we owe him a favor. But the young master of the Kyojin family, our favor is nothing to him. Another teacher said. Not necessarily. It won't be used in the future, but it doesn't mean it won't be used now. For example, if he was absent from class, everyone should just ignore it. The first teacher said. That's right. Several people nodded and said to the students behind them, this time you can go back. It's all thanks to you. After you go back, thank him. In addition, you went out without permission and missed classes for a week. After you go back, write a self-criticism. Several students looked grim, as if they had lost their parents. Although this week was not long, and they did not suffer any physical damage from beginning to end, but they suffered a lot of mental damage. From a normal person, they became a rag doll that could be played with by anyone. They were also crushed by stones. Although they did not die, they did not want to recall it again in their lives. Now they have to write a self-criticism and bear the punishment. And the culprit of all this is you. But they still want to thank him. What a shame. A group of people looked at each other, and they all saw the meaning in each other's eyes. They would never let you go. The 6 people returned to the Pokémon school. At 7 o'clock in the evening, a group of people tacitly appeared in the grove. We can't just let this go. Zuji, the top student in the senior class, spoke first, setting the tone for this matter. We must take revenge. Yes, we must. A group of people shouted, unwilling to suffer this loss. Let's have a Pokémon battle. Let him know that, even if we can't beat Nancy, we are still much stronger than him. Let him know what it means to respect seniors. Senior Zyarchan said without hesitation. That's right, we should let him know what it means to respect the elders and let him respect the seniors. Defeat him, destroy his Pokémon, let him know how big the gap between his strength and ours is. But how to fight? He is not in the same grade as us, only he can challenge us to advance, and we can't challenge him. If he refuses to challenge, we can't attack forcefully, otherwise once we are discovered, we will be expelled. You don't want to be expelled, do you? A middle grade student hesitated. A group of excited people calmed down when they heard this. With their status and grades, bullying ordinary people is nothing. The school always favors good students and those with good family backgrounds. But if the target is you, it's completely different. Then let him challenge us. Wooju, the first in the middle grade, said with a vicious light in his eyes. How to do it? A group of people looked over. Can't we get someone he cares about? Everyone should have heard that there is a new transfer student in the beginner class. He has a good relationship with Yu, but he is a very strange person. He is afraid of Pokémon and dare not contact Pokémon. Is such a person qualified to be a student in our Pokémon school? Wooju said. What do you mean? Zuji frowned. Target her and let her leave the Pokémon school. A student who is not even a trainer is not qualified to study in the Pokémon school. At that time, if Yu doesn't come out, we will take revenge. If he comes out, we will teach him a lesson. Wooju said. Targeting a girl is a bit too much. Zuji frowned. Nothing is too much. A student who is not even a trainer is not qualified to enter our school. Wooju insisted. What is a student who is not even a trainer and is afraid of Pokémon doing here? Is he qualified to be a student of Pokémon school? This is an insult to them. You are too shameless to target girls. Hangian, the third in the senior class, frowned. As a girl, she looked down on such behavior. Maybe we don't have to do this. In half a month, it will be the school sports meeting. At that time, the whole school can participate in the competition with Pokémon. You will definitely participate in one. We will trip him up at the sports meeting and defeat him. Or we can target him. Ender, the second in the intermediate class, said. That's it. When the time comes, we will definitely beat him together. Hangian said. That's it. Let the people in the elementary class find out the news. Once we confirm what competition you will participate in, we will sign up. Zuji finally made the decision. After that, a group of people took action. Yu didn't know anything yet, and he was not interested in paying attention to them. His target has never been these people. When these people are aiming for the league conference, his target is the Champions League. While attending classes, he trained Haunter, Absol, and Charmander. Very effective. One day in class, the head teacher looked at everyone and said, "In the last 5 minutes, let me explain everything. Starting from next Monday, our school's Pokémon games will last for 3 days. Everyone must participate. Now make a count and report the games you want to participate in to me." As he spoke, the class representative, Sunday, who was a caring little cotton jacket in the teacher's eyes, went up to get something and handed it out. What is a Pokémon games? Lily asked curiously. It is a competition where students and Pokémon participate together. Through the competition, the friendship between students and Pokémon is enhanced. You can choose to participate with your own Pokémon, or with a Pokémon provided by the school. There are specific events. At the same time, every student must participate, and those who win the first place can get a lot of credits. Yu said. The school's Pokémon games have more than a dozen events, big and small. The main one is the sea, land and air triathlon. That is, riding land Pokémon, sea Pokémon, and flying Pokémon to chase each other on land, sea and air. Pokémon skills are not allowed to be used for attack, but auxiliary skills such as high-speed movement can be used. In addition, there are some cooperative training. For example, the first half lets the trainer run, and the second half lets the Pokémon work hard, such a relay race. What if I don't have a Pokémon? Lily said. Yu raised an eyebrow. Lily's situation is definitely rare. Since the Pokémon school held the sports meeting, it has never considered this issue, because even if you don't have a Pokémon, the school will provide it. After completing the assessment, you can leave with your Pokémon. And how can you afford to go to the Pokémon school without a Pokémon? I'll report it to the school, Yu said. Lily lowered her head embarrassedly. She was very dissatisfied with herself who couldn't touch Pokémon, but she couldn't get over the obstacle in her heart. Yu glanced at Lily and didn't say much. There are some things that only you can break. Lily's problem should be broken by herself. Yu, which one do you choose? Sunday walked in front of Yu and said, "Land race." Yu thought about it for a while. He had thought about it long ago. Little Fire Horse is best at it. Sunday nodded, as if he had thought of it, and walked to the next one. Soon, this news was known to many people. As a result, more and more people signed up for the Pokémon Land Race. Chapter 32, Jarat in a sudden appearance. Have so many people participated in the race in previous years? Yu and Zouhuoma were inspected and entered the venue with their numbers, but they found that the number of participants this time was unusually large. In previous years, there were only more than 40 people participating. This year, there are almost 80. It's to let you know how big the gap is between seniors and juniors. Wuju stood up with his arms folded across his chest. His serial number was 1 after Yu. Senior? Yu said. Don't think that having a good family background is great. Here, it depends on strength. We will let you know what it means to be a senior. Wuju walked in front of Yu with a haughty look and looked down at Yu. If you use your ability to talk cannons to study hard, you should have graduated instead of being here. Your parents sent you here to study, not for you to waste time. You don't study, but you pretend to be awesome. Yu couldn't help shaking his head, sighing as he left, as if lamenting that people's hearts are no longer the same as before, and the world is going downhill. The students are no longer good. Wuju frowned. Damn kid, disrespecting seniors. With an A, the little fire horse ran to Yu and licked Yuyu's cheek with his tongue. After knowing that Yu was going to participate in the race, he had been practicing the race to strive for the first place. Yu touched the little fire horse's head. Judging from Wuju's performance just now, the group of people in the intermediate and advanced classes were going to make trouble for him. The next game would be more challenging than expected. Leading the little fire horse, Yu prepared to walk through the competition venue in advance. The Pokémon race is to run around the entire Pokémon school extension, passing through forests, rivers, hillsides, hills and other terrains and finally return. The total length is about 60 kilometers. Although the credit reward for the first place is dispensable to Yu, since he has participated, Yu doesn't want to lose. Walking to the river, the little fire horse lowered his head to drink water, and Yu also washed his face by the way. At this time, the river water suddenly changed, a whirlpool appeared, and then the image of Giratina appeared on the lake. Yu was startled when he saw this, but then he reacted and looked at Giratina on the river and said, "Why are you here? Didn't you say that you created 2 messengers and needed to sleep to recover your strength? You woke up so soon. Because the energy used to create you is much less than I thought, so although I haven't fully recovered yet, it's okay for me to come out occasionally." Giratina said. "Then you came to me. Do you have something for me to do?" Yu said. "There is no free lunch in this world." With the power of Giratina, it is natural that he has the obligation to serve Giratina. After all, he is now the messenger of Giratina. "No, it's just because I'm bored. I came out to chat with you," Giratina said. Yu's expression was stunned. "Is this okay? Will you still be bored?" Yu asked curiously. "Haven't you always been a Pokémon in the reverse world? It's been tens of millions of years, and you're bored now? Moreover, in the reverse world, although there are no people, you can always watch the situation outside. It can be regarded as countless TV series to watch, so it's not too boring. Besides, a divine beast should be able to tolerate loneliness, otherwise Dialga and Palkia would be even more miserable." "Nonsense. If you are bored, I will be bored too. In the reversed world, I'm the only one," Giratina said. "I was used to it, but recently I heard you flattering too much, and suddenly no one flatters me, so I feel a little uncomfortable. Besides, I'm a divine beast with a messenger and a status, so I have to be a little different. See what my messenger is like, and observe. I'm definitely not here to listen to good words. I, Giratina, am a divine beast with dignity." "Bored, chatting?" Yu raised his eyebrows, vaguely aware of something wrong. Could it be that Giratina is addicted to being praised because no one has ever praised it before, and he wants me to praise it? But I'm not a professional flatterer. It takes talent to flatter someone for 20 days without repeating it. Otherwise, not everyone can be those flattering villains. But I definitely don't have this talent. I almost used up my vocabulary last time. I need to supplement and upgrade. So I'll just muddle through." In a flash, countless ideas emerged in Yu's mind, and finally he showed a bright smile and said, "Why don't we eat something? I'm like this. When I have nothing to do, I eat something. Especially when I'm troubled, I eat hot pot. No matter how big the problem is, it can be solved with a pot of hot pot. If there is something that can't be solved with a pot of hot pot, then I'll have a second pot." "Hot pot? What's that? Is it delicious?" Giratina looked at Yu with doubtful eyes. As the master of the reversed world created by Arceus, it doesn't survive by eating. And there are no other creatures in the reversed world for him to eat, so he has never eaten anything. "Try it." Yu made a phone call and ordered to key it, and asked someone to send over the soup base hot pot ingredients and a bunch of other things. 3 hours later. "It smells so good." Giratina stretched out his tongue to lick the entire bottom of the pot clean, with an expression of enjoyment on his face, and his eyes were almost completely squinted. Burp after drinking a whole pot of soup. Ignoring the temperature of 80 to 90 degrees, Giratina burped contentedly, looked at Yu and said, "You're right. Eat something when you're bored. Now I don't feel bored anymore. I'm leaving first. I'll come to you to eat when I'm bored someday." After that, Giratina's head shrank, returned to the reverse world, and disappeared in front of Yu. Looking at the pots and pans scattered around, and the little fire horse that was a little exhausted from the constant jet of flame cooking, Yu smiled. Finally fooled him. That's good. It's better to tap into Giratina's foodie attributes than to let Giratina ask him to flatter constantly. After all, flattering is a technical job, and it's difficult for Yu to improve. Giratina will get tired of flattering repeatedly, but food won't. There are so many foods in the world, and they are all different. Yu doesn't have to rack his brains to develop new routines. It just costs money. but things that can be solved with money are not a big deal for Yu. Fire. The pitiful cry of the little fire horse sounded, and Yu remembered how pitiful the little fire horse was now, and immediately took it back to the Pokeball. In the past 3 hours, the fire for the hot pot was provided by the little fire horse. It's a pity that it has to bear the pressure that it shouldn't bear at such a young age. Next time, when Giratina comes, you must eat in the room, and you can use an induction cooker. You can't treat the little fire horse as a Pokémon. Putting away the little fire horse and preparing to go to the Pokémon Center, Yu looked at the pots and pans on the ground next to him and suddenly realized something. These things can't be put into the Pokeball. The mood suddenly fell. It's really the boss. He doesn't have to pay for eating a free meal, and I, who pays, have to clean up. I'm also a little master. The mythical beast is amazing, Yu muttered in his heart, and then cleaned up quickly. The mythical beast is really amazing. Chapter 33 Land Race. Very good. Now the contestants of Group C are entering the venue. Among them are Wuju riding a Todori and Yu riding a pony. They are both excellent students in our school. Who will win this competition? At the school sports field, a teacher who served as the MC held a microphone, and his voice spread throughout the venue through the loudspeaker. Because of the large number of people, this land race was divided into 4 groups. Each group has 20 people, and the top 5 will enter the second round. After another 20 people are gathered, the champion will be selected. Yu appeared on the competition field riding a pony. Boy, this time I will let you know the huge gap in strength between you and the senior. Wuju rode on a Todori and looked at Yu arrogantly. Yu completely ignored him. He had no time to argue with people like Wuju. He looked at the Pokémon of the other contestants around him. More than half of them were non-threatening and the type that focused on participation. Broncos, Rattata, Nidorino, what are these? How fast can you run? As for those who ride Raiden and Naughty Bull, Yu didn't want to complain. Are you here to compete or to perform acrobatics? Normally, Ponytail will definitely be in the top 3, but Yu doesn't know if there will be anything abnormal in this competition. However, he is not too worried. This group of people can only exploit loopholes in the rules at most. If they really make a big deal, they will just be looking for death. On your marks, get set 3 2 1 bang. With a gunshot, 20 contestants drove the Pokémon under them to run forward quickly. Ponytail was covered in flames, and its 4 hooves were on fire, and it soon became the leader. But before it could last long, a strong gust of wind came, and Wuju was seen riding Todori and galloping past, raising a large piece of wind blocking sand. At the same time, Todori's head accidentally hit Ponytail's side. Ponytail screamed in pain, and was forced to slow down. Yu hurriedly comforted Pony, but Pony's emotions had not yet calmed down. The ground shook violently, and Kintaro suddenly rushed past Yu, and the powerful vibration acted on Yu and Pony. Then, Nidorino and Cat Boss used various coincidences to accidentally affect Pony, causing Pony to drop from the leader to the last place. No, what are these guys doing? On the podium, Zeduo Cheng, who was watching the live broadcast, looked at this and said angrily, "Are these students idiots? They deliberately made things difficult for Yu. Revenge. Revenge for what Yu did to them," Principal Yuto said with a smile. But what they did was against the rules. Just now, Kintaro definitely used the ultimate attack trick of ramming, and he played tricks on Yu, so they were the only ones who suffered. Zeduo Cheng said, "No, they didn't break the rules. The race was intense, and it was normal for Pokémon to collide with each other. It was an accident that Dodoli hit Ponyta, and Kintaro used a ram, but although ram is a special attack, it can indeed increase speed, which is within the rules," Principal Yuto said. "But this may be okay for others, but it is courting death for Yu. The Kyojin family will make them despair," Zeduo Cheng said. "Zeduo Cheng, you are making a fuss. The conflict between the children, the Kyojin family, will not end as long as they are not stupid and they are angry. What can they do? The children just suffered a little loss, but they can't sit still. If this is the case, the Kyojin family will not last for hundreds of years. The Kyojin family does not take this kind of small friction seriously," Principal Yuto said. "Then look at it this way," Zeduo Cheng said. "That's right. See how Yu deals with the others. Do you think Yu can't solve the current situation by himself? Don't look down on him so much. He is the first student who dares to blackmail me in so many years. Principal Yuto said with a smile. Seeing that Principal Yuto had spoken, Sajao no longer insisted and just watched the game, fearing that something unexpected would happen to Yu. On the field, Yu, who had dropped to the last place, looked at the people in front of him and showed an inexplicable smile. Is that all he can do? Then continue. Ponita, run as hard as you can, Yu said. Ponita let out a solemn neigh, and his whole body was ablaze with flames. It burst into blazing flames and madly chased after the group of people in front of it. It soon surpassed several trainers riding Radar and quickly approached Takei. Takei felt the changes behind him and showed a sneer on his face. The speed of Duduli was 60 km per hour, which was a little faster than Ponita. If he ran like this, he could make Yu completely unable to catch up. But this would be meaningless. He had to give Yu a chance to catch up, so that it would be easier to arrange. There were 4 people behind Takei, 2 armored rhinos and a Kintaro. They followed Wuju closely, but had no intention of overtaking him. Instead, they lined up side by side, leaving only enough space for a horse to pass through. If Yu wanted to overtake them, he had to pass through them, and once he passed through, there would be an accidental collision. In addition, there were also people riding Raiden and Naughty Bombs blocking Yu, forming an unshakable iron wall, or a cage, waiting for Yu to come in. Yu seemed to be really trapped by the situation in front of him. There was no possibility of breaking through, and the distance between him and these Pokémon was not shortened at all. Time passed by, and it would not be long before they reached the finish line. The race was coming to an end. The positions of the group of people remained unchanged. In the audience, Lilia clenched her fists anxiously, her little face flushed, and she was at a loss. On the rostrum, Sajao sighed, and Principal Yuto frowned. Yu had no solution at all. It seemed that I had too high expectations for him. After all, he was still a child, and it was impossible for him to have a solution to any difficulties. And looking at this, it seems that this group of students have rehearsed specially, so there is nothing they can do if they lose like this. The competition is nearing the end, and there is only a short sprint section left. Wuja looked at Yu who had not caught up at all, and showed a contemptuous smile. Come on, kid. I'll let you be arrogant again. Arrogant? Don't think that you can be arrogant just because you have achieved some results. Compared with the seniors, you are still far behind. Almost. Yu looked at the distance of the competition and made a decision in his heart. It's time to end here. If it's not over, it will be too late. He pulled the reins and said, "Little fire horse, sprint with all your strength." A loud horse neigh sounded, and a ball of blazing flames burst out from the little fire horse's body. The high temperature was so high that except for humans, who were in sync with the little fire horse, anyone who touched the flames would be injured. Then the little fire horse burst out at an amazing speed and sprinted forward. Finally here, the 2 trainers who were riding Raiden and Squirtle had strange smiles on their faces. They had been running all the way behind. Although it was very satisfying to suppress Yu never came up, which made them feel that their arrangement was meaningless. Now that he was here, it was just right. Raiden and Squirtle spun at high speed, performing a quick break, and at the same time, a large piece of smoke and sand flew out, blocking the view. But Yu and Charmander were all in flames, completely dispersing, and then they slammed into Raiden with lightning speed. The blazing flames burst out, and the trainer on Raiden was suddenly sprayed with flames, and burned by high temperature, and fell down all of a sudden. Then Charmander slammed over, and knocked Raiden to the side of Squirtle. Squirtle's trainer had never expected such a change, and was knocked away alive, and Squirtle was knocked into the group of Takei people by Raiden. Squirtle, who was rolling on the ground, was suddenly attacked inexplicably, and was immediately furious. Being innocently affected, even a person with a good temper would get angry, not to mention that Naughty Bullet is notorious for having a bad temper. So, it exploded. It performed the art of explosion for everyone. Boom, a loud noise. Big explosion. Naughty Bullet is best at special moves. The power value is as high as 250, which is also the most powerful special move in the book. With a gorgeous explosion, including Naughty Bullet, 2 armored rhinos, 2 Kintero, a Raiden, a Tutsi and their trainers. A total of 7 pets and 7 people were all seriously injured and fell to the ground. At this time, Yu rode on the little charmer and jumped over their heads coquettishly, showing a smile and said, "Senior, hello." Looking at Yu's sarcastic smile, Wuju's lungs almost exploded. He barely raised his head and looked at Yu, who was riding away, crossing the finish line and taking the first place. His eyes almost spewed fire. Chapter 34. Who said I violated the rules? The sudden change was beyond everyone's expectations. The whole venue was stunned. Is there such a thing? Using the explosion of the naughty bomb, he blew everyone over and rushed over. As expected of people from the Kyojin family and the Sasaki family, they are so shady. Principal Yuto raised the corner of his mouth. With the arrangement of this group of people, there was no need to wait until the end of the match to sprint. This was done purely to discuss the opponent. Pushing a person who originally had no hope into the abyss, and pushing a person who was about to reach the peak into the abyss gave the other party 2 completely different feelings. The latter would make people collapse in despair. Hey, it evolved. Principal Yuto looked at the little fire horse at the finish line, and suddenly a strong white light came out of his body, and exclaimed. Yu at the finish line was also surprised. Looking at the little fire horse that suddenly evolved next to him, he showed joy on his face. It actually evolved at this time. A flash of white light passed, and the little fire horse had disappeared. Instead, a tall horse, extraordinary and majestic, with a flaming mane flowing, and a single horn appeared on his head. Compared with the little flamingo before evolution, it is taller and looks more holy. Flamingo didn't seem to expect that it would evolve suddenly, but after the evolution, it began to lick Yu with its tongue to express its joy. Yu smiled and stroked Flamingo's head. Flamingo has evolved, which is a pleasant surprise and the biggest gain. By the way, it has booked the victory of the next game. Flamingo ran at full speed, with a speed of 240 km per hour. At present, no Pokémon in the school is faster than it. Yu, congratulations on winning the first place. Lilia ran to Yu and congratulated him. Thank you. Yu smiled and accepted Lilia's congratulations. You are violating the rules. The rules of the race do not allow the use of attacking tricks. Just now you used a fire attack on Raiden. Wuju struggled to get up from Doodooly and shouted at Yu with a dusty face. Didn't you attack Yu too? Lilia said for Yu. Shut up. What qualifications do you have to speak when you don't even have a Pokémon? Wuju said angrily. Lilia's face flushed, but she couldn't say anything to refute. A loser has no right to speak in front of a winner. Weakling, shut up. Yu looked at Wuju and said. Wuju was angry and questioned the referee loudly. Many middle and high school students nearby also followed suit. In any large group, there are some informal small organizations, and the Pokémon school is led by these students with excellent grades. Just like Utoside can lead the entire elementary class. When they make a fuss, countless people respond. What are you making a fuss about? Do you want to be punished if you keep making a fuss? Sajo said angrily. If the school doesn't give a satisfactory answer, even if we have to be punished, we will demand justice. At worst, we will all drop out of school together. Wuju shouted. Students are weak when facing the school, but it is also relative. If the number of students is large enough, then on the contrary, they can coerce the school, especially private schools. Sajo was in a dilemma and couldn't say anything. What do you think? Principal Yuto came forward in person. Yu violated the rules. He should be punished and disqualified. Wuju said. Really? Yu, what do you say? Principal Yuteng looked at Yu and said. Nothing to say. What rules did I violate? When did the Pokémon race say that you can't use special moves? Yu said. But the rules say that you can't use attack skills. You can only use auxiliary skills. Wuju said. This is my auxiliary skill. Charged flame attack, which can increase speed. This, you should have learned it. Yu said with a smile. Charmed flame attack. A group of students' faces suddenly changed. Charged flame attack. Use blazing flames to attack the opponent and increase speed at the same time. Ponytail can obviously move at high speed. Why don't you use high speed movement, but charged flame attack? You are clearly trying to attack. Wuju said. What special move I use? Does it have anything to do with you? When did you decide that I would use a special move? In addition, I don't know. Charmeleon is a fire Pokémon with fire all over its body, which can easily arouse passion and run faster. It is the basis to use the appropriate special move according to the characteristics of the Pokémon itself. You don't even know this, do you? That's right. After all, you are 13 years old, still staying in the Pokémon school, not graduated, and can't participate in the Pokémon conference. It's normal for you to be bad. Yu said. What did you say? Wuju gritted his teeth. Yu gave a disdainful look. Are you deaf? Do you want me to repeat it? Do you have any more questions? If not, forget it. If so, then we will investigate it again, strictly and ruthlessly. Some of the things that Kintaro did before will be completely counted. Principal Yuto looked at the group of people and said. A group of people were silent. Over the years, there have always been people who exploit loopholes in the rules of the sea, land and air sports games. If this is not okay, everything will be strictly enforced, then many people here will be investigated. Moreover, compared with school rules, this kind of exploitation of loopholes in the rules and the unspoken rules that have been agreed upon are more binding and cannot be broken. This is the rule left by countless seniors in the school for decades. If you dare to break this, you will die. It seems that there is no problem. Everything will be the same as before. Principal Yuto said with a smile. A large group of students were reluctant, but they could only be forced to accept this fact. Zuji and others had solemn expressions. Their warnings failed, and they were teased instead. Moreover, the little brooding horse evolved into a flaming horse. There is no suspense in the next game. Wuju looked gloomy and looked at Yu with hatred in his eyes. You wait for me. Yu ignored these people, but went back to measure the various data of the flaming horse and make plans at the same time. The little brooding horse evolved into a flaming horse, and more special moves should be developed. The various data of the body must have been improved a lot, such as the head, which increased by at least 0.4 meters, and the body temperature also increased by at least 100 degrees Celsius. The evolution of Pokémon in reality is not a simple game data, but just a simple improvement. In essence, it is still a group of data. The evolution of Pokémon is a change in the whole organism, and the trainer must also change his routine according to the changes of the organism. For example, when a fish evolves into an octopus, it can really make the trainer despair. It changes from a fish to an octopus. Although it is just an extra word, it changes from a vertebrate animal to a mollusk, and from having no hands and no feet to having hands and feet. There are all kinds of troubles. When Charmander evolves into Flamahorse, it is the least troublesome of the evolutions, because the difference between Flamahorse and Charmander is really not that big. It just has an extra horn on its head and the horse becomes taller. There is no difference overall. In fact, it is just a little bigger. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35. Lilia is isolated. Flame Horse. Use the slender horn. The horn on the top of the flame horse's head shone brightly, and it violently crashed into a stone in front of it. The hard horn on its head left a mark on the stone. Very good, Flame Horse. Increase the power and continue to train, Yu said. After the little fire horse evolved into a flame horse, it grew a lot. The speed has made a qualitative leap, not to mention that it only takes 10 steps to reach a speed of 240 km per hour. It easily won the land race championship. It was really a one-off. From the beginning, it left the people behind 8 streets behind. The temperature of the flame has also been greatly improved, and the power of the jet flame and the energy storing flame attack has increased by about 1.5 times. Especially the energy storing flame attack. Although ultra high speed movement cannot increase inertia, it can bring strong kinetic energy. The power is really fierce. In addition, it has learned the skill of the flame vortex. A mouthful of flame is sprayed out, and a huge flame vortex traps people. Yu has simulated with data that a horse can burn a forest. The power is strong. but after thinking about it, it's still not safe. So I tried to let Flamahorn learn the Steel Skill Slenderhorn to deal with rock-type Pokémon. After all, in addition to being restrained by water in both directions, the fire type is also restrained by the water type, with half the attack and double the attack. The same is true for the rock type. Learn a steel skill to fight against the rock type. After receiving Yu's praise, Flamahorn was full of passion and began to run fast again, with heat flowing all over his body. Haunter on the side looked at the passionate Flamahorn and couldn't help shaking his head. How could this silly child be so naive? After so many times of education, he is still so easy to fool. But it's good. After just evolving, Yu will not look for him in a short time. In this way, he will have plenty of time to play games. Haunter's expression, I'm so happy. It feels so good to have hands. Next time I evolve, I will be like my mother. Everything is going in a good direction. The strength of Haunter, Flamahorn, and Absol is steadily increasing. Until one day, Yu went to the VIP box on the top floor of the cafeteria to eat. When passing by the door of the box, he heard a conversation coming from inside. That girl can't stand it now. She is obviously afraid of Pokémon, but she still comes to school. It's really funny. That's right, people like this are an insult to us in our Pokémon school. Yu stopped when he heard this. Lily was the only one who was afraid of Pokémon in the Pokémon school. What's the use of talking so well and answering questions so quickly? She is not even a Pokémon trainer. People like this should be kicked out of school. Yes, our school trains Pokémon trainers. Why does someone who is not even a trainer come here? I heard that she is from a rural place like Alala that I have never heard of. Such people can enter the school. It is simply a discredit to our school. So, we must kick her out. Zuji from the senior grade and Wuju from the middle grade have spoken. Yu frowned when he heard this. After all, there is a difference between him and Lily. He is not interested in some things about girls. Girls still have to have their girlfriends. So Lily was looking for friends on her own during this period. And Yu was busy training Flame Horse during this period, so he didn't pay much attention to Lily. But from what this group of people said, Lily had a hard time during this period. Humans are collective animals, and when you are excluded in a group, that feeling will definitely not be good. Cold violence and verbal violence are also a kind of violence. Sometimes, it is even more vicious than violence like fists and feet. This lunch is not delicious. A sharp light flashed in Yu's eyes, and he turned downstairs and walked towards the classroom. He was almost isolated from the school group. He just came here to take classes, so he was not well informed. But it was not difficult for him to know the news. Soon, the school square. Did you finally find out? Sunday looked at Yu with a smile. Tell me the whole story. Although I guessed it roughly, it is perfect enough when it comes from your mouth. Yu said. He was not so well informed, but Sunday was. Okay, have a fight, and I will tell you, if you beat me. Sunday said. No problem, Flame Horse, go. Yu said. The Pokeball was thrown, a red light flashed, and Flamahorse stood on the ground, its flowing red mane moving in the wind, looking extraordinary, and a stream of heat rushed towards Sunday. No need for Haunter, then I want the victory of this game. Sunday took off a Pokeball and threw it solemnly. Come out, Raiden. Boom. A red light flashed, and a heavyweight Pokémon appeared in the field. Its body was like a ball, wrapped in brown rock, and its short and sturdy limbs and head came out of the ball. Raiden, the final evolution of Geodude, has both rock and ground attributes, and is the second most powerful Pokémon in the Kanto and Chengdu regions, second only to Snorlax. Has your Raiden evolved? Yu said in surprise. The last time Zyraksha came over, it was still Raiden, but she didn't expect it to evolve into Raiden now. Sure enough, he was not the only one who was making progress. Of course, be prepared to fail. Sunday said. Rock and ground both restrain fire. If you hit me, I will hit you twice as hard, and if you hit me, I will hit you half as hard. Langayan, roll. Langayan jumped suddenly, and his limbs and head all retracted into the rock body, turning into a huge giant stone, and falling heavily to the ground, shaking the ground, rushing towards the fiery horse. It was mighty and powerful, as if the sky was falling, and the earth was cracking. a flash of lightning, slender horns. Yu was not at all flustered. Rolling, a rock type trick, has weak initial power, but it will increase with the number of rolls. So it must be interrupted first. The fiery horse looked sharp, and its 4 hooves were flying. It turned into a white light, and rushed towards Lang Lang Gan. There was a single horn on its head, and the metallic luster flashed, and it suddenly collided with Lang Lang Gan. Bang, a loud noise sounded, smoke and dust rolled. Lang Lang Gan rolled backwards, and rolled more than 10 meters before barely stopping, revealing his head and limbs again, while the fiery horse couldn't help but retreat, and took a few steps back before stabilizing. Yuyu's eyes swept over the horn on the top of Flame Horse's head. Although the power did not reach its peak when it just rolled, the power of rolling with the massive Raiden was equally strong. Flame Horse's slender horn was not cultivated well, and the power was not enough. If it keeps fighting, Raiden will fail, but Flame Horse's horn may also break, although it can be connected later. After all, the medical technology of Pokémon in this world has really reached a superb level, but there are always hidden dangers in connecting later, so there is no need to resist so much. Fly a kite. Flame Horse, move at high speed. Flame Vortex. Yu said. Flame Horse understood at that time, and flames came out all over his body. He ran quickly around the stadium, leaving after images all around, making Raiden completely unable to keep up with its rhythm. Then the terrifying firestorm came, and rolled towards Raiden. Raiden, roll. Earthquake. Sunday was not to be outdone, and also issued 2 orders in one breath. Ryo suddenly changed, turning into a bull again, rolling rapidly, and hitting the ground from time to time, shaking the earth, and earthquake waves continued to burst out, attacking the Flame Horse. Yu raised his eyebrows slightly, and Sunday's progress during this period was greater than he had imagined. Ryo was first class in both melee combat and defense, but his speed was slow, which was Ryo's weakness, and he was easily attacked from a distance. After turning into a bull, the speed increased by several times. Moreover, turning into a bull does not affect the use of skills such as Earthquake and Slam. Although using these skills will stop the rolling effect, it is obvious that Sunday does not care about these. Chapter 36. Defeat Sunday and go to his door. Bang, 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 continuous sounds rang out, and Raiden's huge body continued to vibrate on the ground, erupting with powerful earthquake waves. The earth trembled, and the terrifying destructive power was beyond words. Although it was also constantly bearing the continuous damage of the flame vortex, these attacks were within the tolerance range of the rock type damage to the fire type. On the other hand, although Flame Horse was agile, it might be injured by the earthquake wave if it attacked close to Raiden, and the earthquake damage was significant to fire attribute Pokémon. Sunday looked at Yu proudly and said, Yu, I have been getting stronger these days. The head-on collision you just had was your only chance to win. Now you refuse the head-on collision and use the long-range attack. Do you think that Raiden will lose? In terms of attributes, I have the advantage. Yu said nothing. Sunday's talent was not bad, otherwise he would not have become the first in the school. It's just that he used to believe in books too much, so he was always suppressed by himself. Now he is learning and applying it flexibly, which is indeed a bit tricky. Jump vibration. Earthquake damage? If it were Haunter to play this game, it would be easy and a crushing victory. In floating state, you are completely immune to earthquake damage. Wait, floating is immune to earthquake damage. Yu's eyes suddenly lit up, and the corners of his mouth curled up. Rumble Rock, use the most powerful earthquake to hit. Sunday said. Rumble Rock jumped high, and slammed into the ground violently, like a comet falling to the ground. Flame Horse, charge up the flame attack, and jump on Rumble Rock. Yu suddenly said at this time. The Flame Horse neighed, and the flames were blazing all over its body. It suddenly jumped up, and turned into a red light. It jumped on Rumble Rock, and stomped Rumble Rock heavily to the ground. At the same time, it used the force to fly up, and jumped into the sky. No matter how great the earthquake damage was, it could not hurt it at all. Instead, it trampled on Rumble Rock. In terms of jumping power, Flame Horse is better than Rumble Rock. Yu said. What does it matter? If you have the ability, Flame Horse will never fall down. Fly up and show me. Rumble Rock uses earthquake. Sunday said. Rumble Rock's head and limbs emerged from the stone, and then he stomped his big feet on the ground, using the correct method of earthquake. Then I'll fly for you to see. Yu raised the corner of his mouth. Flame Horse, use jet flames on Rumble Rock from the sky. The burning flame beam from the mouth of Flame Horse suddenly shot out, hitting Rumble Rock violently from top to bottom. At the same time, with this strong force, Flame Horse flew into the sky in the opposite direction. Newtonian mechanics. The third law, the action of forces is mutual. Rockets can rely on this law to go up to the sky and leave the earth. Although Flame Horse can't do this because of its own physical limitations, it really has no problem staying in the sky for a while when there is enough fire. Don't think that you can't fly without wings. Rumble Rock, roll away. Sunday said anxiously. Rumble Rock immediately rolled. Trampling. Yu's voice sounded at the same time. Flame Horse understood immediately and stopped spitting fire from its mouth. A ball of fire came out from behind. Although it was not as powerful as the one sprayed from its mouth, it more or less played a role in accelerating it, and it fell steadily towards Raiden. Then a horse hoof fell from the sky. Boom, Flame Horse fell from the sky, and smoke and dust rolled. When the smoke and dust cleared, Flame Horse still stood steadily on the ground, with a majestic face. Raiden fell on his back, revealing a pair of background eyes. I won. Yu said. Flames flying to the sky. What method did you use? Where did you learn it from? Sunday took back Raiden and looked at Yu. Tactics come from life. This is science. When you have time, read more science books, not just books about Pokémon battles. As I said, you should have a side job, otherwise you won't be a good trainer. Yu said. You don't have to teach me. Sooner or later, I will defeat you. Sunday gritted his teeth. Then we'll talk about it when the day comes sooner or later. Let's talk about Lily first. What have these people done during this period? Who are the leaders? Yu said. Middle grade Wuchu took the lead, and senior Zuji and Zhaochuan cooperated. Almost all the top 10 middle grade and senior students participated, at least with a tacit attitude. A small half of our class also participated. Shengde said. That's a lot. They all came for me. Yu showed an inexplicable smile on his face. Of course, although it is indeed a shame for us that Lily, a student who has no Pokémon, and is even afraid of Pokémon, enters our school. I hope that every student in our school is an elite, and classmates can promote and compete with each other. Those who are too bad are not qualified to be our classmates. It is a shame for us to be classmates with them. I'm not interested in listening to your long-winded words. I'm not interested in your ideas. Your plan to help backward students is just a disguised form of bullying. I just don't care. Let's get to the point. Yu said. Okay, although I don't like them, since Lily doesn't have a Pokémon, we won't care. Anyway, they are not from the same world. Everyone will take care of their own business, and we may not see each other in the future. Most of them have no relationship at all, especially those in the middle and high grades. They don't usually meet each other. The reason for this is naturally to force you to challenge them. Shengde said. They just want to bully Lily and then let you challenge them. Then they will hit you hard to establish their prestige and prove that they are the strongest in the school. I guessed this too. I want to know how they do it specifically and how excessive it is. Yu said. They do everything within the scope allowed by the school rules. After class, a dozen girls deliberately gathered together in front of Lily and mocked and ridiculed Lily in a low voice. The whole school isolated her. Occasionally, it was common for her to fall down suddenly and pour a basin of water on her. Later, it evolved to telling her in person that she was not good enough. Shengde said. Okay. Even though he had guessed it, when Shengde really said it, Yu couldn't help but get angry. A group of people, especially those grown men, dared not to violate the school rules and confront him directly, but instead took a detour to bully girls. They are really idiots. After picking up the Pokeball and putting away the Flame Horse, Yu turned and walked towards the intermediate classroom. Looking at the closed door, he kicked it directly and broke the door of the classroom. Wuju, who was surrounded by people in the classroom, noticed the movement here and showed a smug expression on his face. It's finally here. Welcome your failure. You are really brave. How do you want to be punished for openly destroying public property? Wooju stood up and looked at Yu with a smug look on his face. Yu looked at Wooju with an extremely contemptuous look, then kicked Wooju in the stomach with a volley kick, kicked him away, and broke 6 or 7 desks along the way, and fell together, making a mess. He didn't do his job, but just used some tricks. He deserved a beating. Chapter 37. You all, come together. Yu, what are you doing? When Wooju supporters saw Yu attacking without saying a word, they were all furious. Even those who didn't get along with Wooju were all angry. Although everyone disliked each other, they were all in the intermediate class. You, a beginner, came here to mess things up. Are you blind? Can't you see that I'm hitting someone? Yu said with disdain. Wooju, get out of the Pokémon school if you know what's good for you. It's an insult to me if you stay in the Pokémon school. Yu, what qualifications do you have to say that? If you hit someone, just wait to be expelled. I tell you, you and Lily will both be expelled. You don't even have a Pokémon. What are you doing in our Pokémon school? Our Pokémon school should cultivate the proud children of heaven, the people who will become Pokémon masters in the future. Wooju, who was on the ground and enduring the severe pain in his stomach, roared angrily. Yes, that's right. Our Pokémon school should cultivate the proud children of heaven, who will become Pokémon masters in the future. So who are you? You are already 13 years old, but you are only at the level of 5 badges. You can't even graduate, let alone participate in the conference and win the league championship. You are a complete waste. How can a person like you who has no talent be qualified to stay in the Pokémon school? It really makes me embarrassed. Yu said with a proud face. What did you say? Wooju was furious, his eyes were about to spit fire. He was the first in the middle grade, and his academic talent was what he was most proud of. Yu said that he had no talent, which was to destroy his greatest pride. Moreover, Yu's behavior was completely beyond his expectations. Yu didn't come here for Lily's matter. To become a Pokémon master, you need talent. Without talent, you can't become a Pokémon master, even if you work hard for a lifetime, and you will also mislead others and yourself. People like you are completely untalented. How can a rubbish like you be qualified to enter the Pokémon school? It is an insult to me that I have a rubbish like you as a senior. From now on, get out of the Pokémon school. If you have no talent, get out. Yu said. Bullshit, you have no talent. Wooju was furious. No one could insult him for not having talent. He was the first in the middle-aged class, especially a beginner. Yeah, Wooju has no talent. You are the one who is not talented. That's right. Why are you, a beginner, coming up here? Yeah, you are looking for a fight. The students in the intermediate class jumped up in dissatisfaction. A tall and strong student directly hit Yu. Yu threw the student over his shoulder and threw him heavily to the ground. With a loud bang, the people around him were shocked. The one who rushed to hit Yu just now was the best fighter in their class, but was knocked down by Yu. A real life fight? No problem, come on, let's go together. You are a bunch of scum. Staying in school is a disgrace to me. Yu clapped his hands. He had studied fighting seriously with Zima for several years. And more importantly, the Kyojin family is from the town of Zengxin. Strictly speaking, he is also a real rookie. Damn it, come on. Everyone present was 12 or 13 years old, and they were young and frivolous. How could they bear such stimulation? They got angry and rushed up in a swarm. Then, a green light flashed in Yu's eyes, and a terrifying energy burst out, knocking all the students down and throwing them heavily to the ground. The whole classroom was a mess. Waste, you have no talent. No matter how hard you work, you are still waste. Yu looked at the group of people and said. After that, Yu dragged himself out of the intermediate classroom and walked towards the advanced classroom, then kicked the door open with one foot, repeating what he did in the intermediate class, and beat the whole class by himself. Immediately, the whole school was boiling. The intermediate class and the advanced class started to make a fuss. The dean of teaching, Zhuo Cheng, was originally drinking tea leisurely in the office, but when he heard the news, he sprayed a mouthful of tea on the computer screen. Fortunately, the waterproof performance was good, otherwise he might be electrocuted. Looking at the riots in the whole school, Zhuo Cheng couldn't help but panic. Little ancestor, can't you be more quiet? What are you making a fuss about? You want me to lose my job? I ran to the principal's office in a panic, but I saw Principal Yao Teng sitting in the office, drinking tea leisurely. Principal, there is a big commotion outside. Why are you still drinking tea here? Zhuo Cheng said. Such a commotion in the school should be your responsibility as the dean. You go and deal with it. Principal Yao Teng said slowly. With such a big commotion now, can I suppress it alone? We are a private school, not a public school. No, even if there is such a commotion in a public school, the principal will also be in trouble. Zhuo Cheng said with a bitter face. Everything will be handled impartially, and nothing will go wrong. Principal Yao Teng said. How to handle it impartially? If it is a normal school, the troublemaker is expelled, and the matter will be settled. But can you be expelled? If he is expelled, our school will still not be able to operate. Zhuo Cheng smiled bitterly. Then you should go and find out the reason. Yu is not a person who likes to make trouble. He took the initiative to make trouble, which means that someone has provoked him. Principal Yao Teng said. But no matter what the reason is, it has already happened. How can we suppress the conflict? Zhuo Cheng said. Conflicts cannot be suppressed, they can only be resolved. Principal Yao Teng said. Then how to resolve it? Zhuo Cheng said. Easy to resolve, let them quarrel. If Zuji and his team win, Yu will leave by himself. This time, he started the incident, and it has nothing to do with us. And if Yu wins, it means that he is really strong. We may be able to produce a student who wins the league championship, which is not bad. Principal Yao Teng said. But the school can't have only one student. Zhuo Cheng said. But a star student will attract thousands of other students to come. Principal Yao Teng said. But Yu's banner is a negative idea, that those who have no talent will never become Pokémon masters, no matter how hard they work. If this spreads out, no students will come in the future. Zhuo Cheng said. No, it will only be more, not less. Because, who do you think would think they have no talent? How can someone who has not been hit know that they have no talent? And for a student who really admits that he has no talent, what are we here for? It doesn't matter whether a puddle of mud can climb the wall or not, but if he himself admits that he is a puddle of mud that can't be helped to the wall, then he is the mud that is stepped on by others. Principal Yao Teng said. But what if someone later uses this as an excuse? There are really many people who can't participate in the Alliance conference at the age of 13. Zhuo Cheng hesitated. Time can dilute everything. After a long time, who knows what is going on now? Principal Yao Teng said. Okay, don't stay here anymore. Go out. I'll go to Sunday to find out what happened. Okay. Zhuo Cheng went out helplessly. What are these students doing? Yu usually doesn't take the initiative to cause trouble. Are you idiots really going to provoke him? Are you crazy? Can you afford to provoke him? I can't afford to provoke him. If you really make trouble, all of your parents, one by one, will be in trouble. Is it easy for your parents to raise you to this age? Do you have to cheat your parents? Can't you just be a rich second generation and go to school? Chapter 38. The principal appears. You said that it was Takai and the others who took the lead? Principal Yuto looked at Shengde. Yes, that's what happened. However, I didn't expect you to say that. It's similar to what I thought. Those with poor talent are embarrassed to stay in the class, but he actually picked the top few. Shengde was surprised. He doesn't really think so. He's just using his own spear to attack his shield. Takai and his group said that Lily is not a trainer and is destined not to become a Pokémon master, so she is not qualified to be a student of Pokémon school. Then this theory is valid. If Takai and the others don't have talent, they can't become Pokémon masters either, and they are not qualified to be students. It's even more excessive, because Lily can be said to be a simple interest. Anyone can have a hobby, and having a hobby doesn't mean you have to become a master. Just like you play games, it basically won't become a profession, but those who don't have a hobby do need strict talent. Principal Yuto laughed. The Kyojin family is really a shady guy. Then Grandpa, wasn't your original intention to set up the school to cultivate excellent Pokémon trainers? Is Yu's work to your liking? Shengde said. I founded this school. Principal Yuto was stunned. It was many years ago. It was so long ago that I had forgotten why I founded this school. At the beginning, I wanted to provide a stage for those children who like Pokémon, so that they can get close to Pokémon and lay a solid foundation for becoming powerful trainers in the future. Deepen the bond between people and Pokémon, and only such a bond is the most precious. But later, the original intention was shattered by time. I hope that the school will continue to expand, and that students will continue to achieve good results. Later, the incident of the circle bear hurting students happened, and the school became a theoretical institution. I just want to make money. Principal Yuto thought about it, and finally decided not to think about it. I will think about it after I retire in 2 years. Now I will solve the problem in front of me first. I stood up, walked outside, looked at the students who were making a mess, blew a whistle, and then loud and clear dragon roar sounded in the sky, like thunder, shaking all directions, and flames were blazing. A huge flying dragon descended from the sky and landed on the ground. The entire ground trembled. All the students were speechless and looked at the newly appeared Pokémon. The orange-yellow skin contained a scorching heat, and the raging fire on the tail made a group of students retreat. A few of them were restless and wanted to speak, but they were frightened by the dragon's eyes and could not speak. Charizard, the final evolution of Charmander, one of the 3 great Pokémon in Kanto. Although it does not have the attributes of a dragon, it is also one of the most powerful beings in Kanto, especially when this Charizard is very strong. Who dares to act wild? Yu looked up at the Charizard, thinking, this Charizard should be the main trump card of Principal Yuto. The strength of the king level. After all, those who can become the principal of a Pokémon school must have strong abilities. Principal Yuto also fought in the Champions League. Although he lost in the end, he was able to make it, which proved his strength. Moreover, that class was quite glorious. His great-aunt Kiku and the father of the current Dragon Envoy, Professor Oak, were all capable of winning the championship. Looking at Charizard's handsome appearance, Yu couldn't help but feel a little envious. Among the Kanto Pokémon, if you want to say which mighty one has the highest appearance, it must be Charizard. It is handsome, powerful, and can fly. It was popular in the previous life for a reason. What are you doing? It's time for class, and a group of people are running here. Do you think the school rules don't exist? Principal Yuto shouted with full energy. A group of students were afraid. Although they had hardly met Principal Yuto, they naturally became timid next to Charizard. Principal, we are not the ones causing trouble. You destroyed the classrooms of our advanced and intermediate classes. Is he the one who caused the trouble? We need the school to give us an explanation. We came here to study, but our personal safety is not guaranteed. Why should we come to a school like yours? Zuji said to Principal Yuteng under the pressure of Charizard. As the first in the advanced class, Zuji had met the principal several times. Although he didn't know that Principal Yuteng, who was usually very gentle, was such a powerful trainer, he was still more resistant than the others. Principal, I don't accept this. There were more than 100 of them beating me, and I was forced to defend and counterattack automatically. This was clearly legitimate defense. You said, there were more than 100 of them beating me, and I was weak, pitiful, and helpless. Yu said with a look of dissatisfaction. Hearing Yu's words, the principal's old face couldn't help but twitch. Looking at the injuries on Zuji's and his group's faces, he really couldn't associate Yu with the words weak, pitiful and helpless. Zuji and his group looked at Yu with disbelief. You came to beat someone up, and you are still weak and helpless? What? Did I say anything wrong? There are 100 of them, and I'm one. Look, you are still verbally abusing me. Yu said. Don't act innocent. You told them that people without talent can't become Pokémon masters, so it's like this, right? Said the principal. Yes, they started it first. They thought the admission standards of this school were too loose, so they made all kinds of demands one by one. I think it's right. But I think, if you don't have talent, don't work hard, so as not to hurt others and yourself, and waste time. No talent means no talent. So I think it's better for them to drop out. Yu said. Pokémon School is a place to educate students. If the students are all strong, what do we teachers do? Our Pokémon School has the right method to make students grow from weak to strong. It's ridiculous that you can't go to school without talent. Zeduo Cheng said. If you don't have talent, you won't come to school. Then where is the school? If you can become stronger just by working hard, why are only a few of them ranked first, while more people are at the bottom? Luoyi from the elementary class, 17 years old, has not graduated yet. Is it because he doesn't work hard? Yu asked back. He is right. Zuji suddenly spoke at this time. What did you say? Zeduo Cheng looked at Zuji in confusion. What are you talking about? I think he is right. We all think so. So we think many people are not worthy of studying here, but we think Yu has no talent. So principal, I hope you can give us a fair duel opportunity. Let us have a fair Pokémon duel with him, and the loser will leave the Pokémon school. Zuji said. You all think so? The principal looked at the group of people and said. That's right. Wuju and his group said in unison. Okay, I agree. Yu, since you said they have no talent and are not worthy of staying in the Pokémon school, you have to prove what you said. Principal Yu Teng looked at Yu and said. No problem. 5 from the middle grades and 5 from the senior grades. I'll give you a chance. Let's take turns. One Pokémon will decide the winner. If I lose, I'll quit Pokémon school. If you lose, we'll quit Pokémon school too. Zuji said. Okay, it's a deal. You pick 10 people. I'll start with the middle grades. Takuchi, get out of here. You're such a talentless person. Staying here is really a disgrace to the school. Yu said. Come on. Takuchi came out with his eyes wide open, his eyes full of anger. Haunter, come out and play. Yu said. Hey, a strange laugh sounded, and Haunter floated out from Yu's shadow. Although it can speak human language, Ghastly usually doesn't speak human language. Doodlebug, get ready for battle. Takuchi took out the Pokeball, and 3-headed Doodlebugs appeared in the field. Doodlebug, who had been staying in the Pokeball, had no idea what was happening outside, but as soon as he came out, he felt the anger of his master, and the expressions of the 3 heads became fierce. A group of students behind Wuju cheered for him. Wuju enjoyed a welcome he had never had since he entered the school. Can Wuju win? Senior Zio-Chuan looked at Zuji and said. It should be no problem. After all, Wuju is the first in the middle grade, and in fact, his strength is almost at the advanced level. His Dodoli is also an elite level Pokémon. And Yu is just a junior student. Zuji said. But is he really just a junior? Zio-Chuan hesitated. If he was just an ordinary junior student, could he defeat the middle and senior classes? Even if Wuju can't do it, it can show some of Yu's strength. Moreover, the special moves of the ghost system and the general system have zero damage to each other, which can restrain many of Yu's tactics. The tactics of the ghost system are the most disgusting and troublesome. It's a good opportunity to see what tactics they are, so that we can crack them. Zuji said. Zio-Chuan nodded. The ghost system is troublesome, but there is no such thing as tactics that cannot be solved. It will be tricky when encountered for the first time, but given time, you will definitely find the flaws. The top 3 in the advanced class all have the strength of 7 badges and at least 3 elite Pokémon in their hands. As long as they know enough information, they will be able to defeat Yu. Frozen Punch. A group of people watched the game intently, but the game ended faster than they all imagined. With Yu's command, Haunter appeared in front of Doodlebug as if teleporting, and punched Doodlebug's body. The cold air was chilling, and the terrifying ice air instantly eroded Doodlebug's body. Doodlebug fell to the ground with a thud, revealing a pair of background eyes. Chapter 39 Crush All. Wuju stared at Doodly lying on the ground in a daze, totally unable to believe it. So fast, so cruel. How is it possible? Isn't Haunter good at auxiliary disgusting tricks such as Strange Light, Hypnosis, Poison, Curse, and Will-O-the-Wisp? When did he attack directly from the front? And he used a fighting trick like Freezing Fist. Actually, there is one thing that I have always been confused about. You have always wanted to stimulate me to challenge you, but what exactly makes you have the illusion that I can't beat you? If I want to hit the first place, do you think it will be your turn? Yu said. Who gave you the confidence and courage? Can you give me some? So I can sell it. Thinking of what Zuji promised, Wuju's face turned pale. Is he going to drop out of school? Pokémon school is not for everyone. Only some people can. You said it, didn't you? Yu looked at Wuju mockingly. It's a good school. Everyone pays money to go to school. It's that simple. Why do you have to set some standards, this and that? Okay, I will also set a standard for you. You, don't be too happy too soon. After all, you said that if you don't have talent, you can't stay. But losing to you doesn't mean you don't have talent. A person's achievements cannot be determined by a short period of time. If you can't do it now, it doesn't mean you can't do it in the future. And it's not certain whether Wuju will leave unless you beat all 10 of us. After all, the final victory determines everything. Zuji said. Okay, come on. Next. Yu said. I'll do it. The second place in the intermediate class came out, threw the Pokeball, and a red light flashed. A majestic bull appeared in the field, with a fierce look in his eyes. What was particularly noticeable was that he had 3 tails. Kintaro, it's a general type again. You intermediate class like general types so much. Yu said with a smile. Kintaro is also a well-known Pokémon. Thanks to Zyossi, it is the only Pokémon in Zyos's hands that has more than 2 and reaches 30. It has nothing to do with you. The second place in the intermediate class said arrogantly. That's right. Hypnosis. Yu said. Haunter's eyes changed, emitting a strange light. Kintaro, get out of the way. The second place in the intermediate class quickly gave the order. Catch him. Yu's voice sounded simultaneously, and Haunter's claws grabbed Kintaro's horns quickly and powerfully. With a glance, Kintaro was directly hit, fell asleep, and fell to the ground. Dream Eater. Yu said. Haunter took a long breath, sucking all of Kintaro's energy like a whale sucking water. Kintaro fell heavily to the ground, without any fighting power. Next. Yu looked at the group of people in the intermediate class and said. The intermediate class looked at each other, and finally the third place came out. This is also their last dignity. If they were really defeated by a beginner class, they would have no face to stay. And if they dropped out of school and returned home, they might be ridiculed in various ways, and there would be sarcasm from the gossips. When a group of people thought of that scene, their scalps tingled. Must win. A group of people were full of fighting spirit, and they went on stage one after another, and then they were defeated one after another. Their morale was once extremely low, until all 5 middle grade students were defeated. It's finally my turn. Zuji's eyes lit up, and he was ready to go out. No, Zuji, you stay until the end. I'll go first. Sanji, the 5th in the senior class, said. Sanji, in fact, this matter has nothing to do with you. Zuji said. I know that this matter is not authentic. You really don't like Yu, so you take the initiative to challenge him. Judging from his personality, he may not refuse. But you are self-righteous, and believe that he can't beat you. You force him to fight you, just because you are bored. You also bully a little girl, but now he is slapping the face of our entire senior class. This face cannot be lost. I will go first. Zuji, you go last. Remember to win. After Sanji finished speaking, he turned and walked towards Yu, threw the treasure ball, and released a huge silver moth, with 2 pairs of wings vibrating, phosphorus powder flashing, emitting beautiful light. Yu, next, I will be your opponent. Sanji said. No problem, it doesn't matter who comes. Yu's expression remained unchanged, but his mental attention was further focused. The top 5 in the advanced class were definitely stronger than those in the intermediate class. Then I won't be polite. Mothra, see through. Sanji ordered quickly. Mothra's eyes flashed green, and 2 rays of light shot out of his eyes. The most difficult thing about ghost type Pokémon is that they have various illusion abilities and invisibility abilities. And seeing through can force ghost Pokémon to appear, and at the same time, make the general or fighting type special moves that should be invalid effective against Haunter. And it lasts for a long time. Even if this game is over, the next Pokémon can also use fighting type to attack. Zuji's strongest Pokémon strange power can come into play. Get out of the way. Yu's order was issued quickly, and Haunter's figure swayed and disappeared in the battlefield in an instant. Invisibility is the greatest specialty of the Haunter family, and cannot be easily broken. Sanji's idea is very good, but the premise is that you can hit it. If you can't hit it, it's all clouds. Mothra, shoot around and find Haunter. Sanji said. Yu would let Haunter hide. He had thought of it, but no matter how fast Haunter moved, it would never be faster than the eyes of the moth, and it would always hit it. As long as it was seen, it would succeed. Looking around, the moth soon saw a Haunter at a 45-degree angle above. The Haunter immediately appeared. Very good, moth. Next, use telekinesis. Sanji said. The moth's eyes shook, and green light flashed in his eyes. A strong telekinesis burst out from the moth, directly hitting the Haunter, that was forced to appear in the air. The Haunter was hit hard, and fell down all of a sudden, falling heavily to the ground. It was a success in one fell swoop, and it was smooth beyond expectations. The intermediate and advanced students were stunned for a long time before they reacted. They cheered loudly, saying that they finally defeated Yu, and that Yu was also a waste, who only bullied the intermediate class, and was useless. When they met the advanced class, Zuji and others were also relieved. They didn't expect Sanji's strength to grow so fast. Only Sanji, the trainer himself, felt something was wrong. Suddenly, when he saw Haunter falling to the ground and slowly dissipating, he suddenly reacted and shouted, "It's a stand, Mothra, you sit to hold it." Although Mothra didn't understand why the trainer said that after winning, it immediately prepared itself. A layer of light radiance shone on its body, but before it could fully emerge, a force from behind hit it, and it was knocked to the ground. Quick reaction, but it's too late. Yu glanced at Sanji, and then said, "Haunter, Shadow Ball." Haunter appeared in the sky, and a huge purple-black energy ball emerged from its claws, smashing it hard at Mothra. With a loud bang, a millstone-sized pit was blown out on the ground. Mothra fell to the ground stiffly, revealing a pair of background eyes. "You lost," Yu said. "When did you give Haunter the order to use a stand, when he was invisible?" Sanji said. "The effect of the stand-in trick is just like its name. It loses a certain amount of physical strength and creates an identical clone to confuse the opponent." So the moth didn't notice the difference and thought the stand-in was the real body. "But when did you give the order? This has nothing to do with you. Who's next?" Yu refused mercilessly. He and Sanji were not familiar with each other, so why should he answer questions for free? The fourth in the advanced class quickly stood up and said, "I'll do it." 10 minutes later. The third in the advanced class, "I'll do it." 12 minutes later. The second in the advanced class, "I'll do it." 13 minutes later. The first in the advanced class. The weekly recommendation exceeded 1000, and the collection also exceeded 1000 again. Thank you all for your love, and add one more chapter for each. Chapter 40, The Angry Principal. Shadow Ball. Haunter floated in the air, raised his hands high, and a purple-black energy ball with a diameter of half a meter condensed, and threw it down with force. Bang, a loud bang. The strange force fell heavily to the ground, revealing a pair of background eyes. Hundreds of people in the advanced class and the intermediate class stood there in a daze, looking at the scene in front of them in disbelief. The top 5 in the advanced class and the top 5 in the intermediate class were all defeated by the first in the elementary class. The classroom was smashed in vain, but they couldn't get any face back. Hundreds of people stood there, like they had lost their parents. After a long while, Zuji was the first to cheer up, looking at Yu and said, "You win, I lose, I will drop out tomorrow." "Okay, voluntarily dropping out is good for the body and mind," Yu said. "I can afford to gamble, and I can afford to lose, but this won't be the end. There is still nearly half a year before the Pokémon conference, enough time for me to collect 8 badges. I will wait for you at the conference then." After Zuji finished speaking, he turned around and left without any nostalgia. "That's right, see you at the Quartz conference." Xiao-Chan and his group also left directly. Wuja looked at Yu with great hatred and left without saying a word. He didn't want to leave the Pokémon school. Going to school here is safe and stable. As long as he graduates successfully, his future will basically be good. He is the first in the middle grade. If he can hold on for a while, he will be the first in the senior grade. After graduation, he can directly enter the league. But if he goes out now, there will be nothing left. But he can't stay. Everyone has left, and he is the only one who doesn't leave. If he stays here, will he become a joke? Moreover, Yu will not let him go. "Why don't you do anything? You are so good at talking nonsense." Yu shook his head and looked at the principal and said, "Okay, principal, there is nothing else. I'm leaving." "Go, you," the principal said unhappily. Although he was mentally prepared at the beginning of the game, the 10 elites that the school had worked hard to cultivate were driven away by Yu in one breath. If Yu was not more talented, he really wanted to cry. Yu shrugged and left. He really didn't want to bully others. Others didn't bother him, and he didn't have time to cause trouble to others. Is the food not tasty, or is Pokémon not fun? However, some people are stubborn. The students don't act like students. Is it because they don't have enough homework? If it is true, don't blame him. How can he live up to his strong backing if he doesn't act recklessly? After Yu left, the students also dispersed in 2s and 3s, but they were completely exhausted. It was obvious that they were hit hard. Zeduo Cheng, make some arrangements. Find some examples of people who know shame and then become brave, and some examples of people who grow up by willpower. Give them some chicken blood and make them full of more hope for the future. If they work hard, they will definitely succeed, the principal said. Okay. Zeduo Cheng nodded helplessly. I do everything, and Yu, this little ancestor, is a headache for me. Sunday, help Grandpa back to the office, the principal said. Oh, Grandpa. Sunday nodded and sent the principal back, but his little face was wrinkled, as if he was struggling with something. If you have any questions, tell me. The principal saw his granddaughter's confusion and said, Grandpa, you said that hard work will lead to success, is that right? I don't think it's right. I tried so hard, but I still couldn't beat you. Is it okay to teach the wrong knowledge? Shengde said. It depends on what your definition of success is. If you want to rule the world, it's impossible even if you work hard for your whole life. On the contrary, you may not have a whole life to work hard for, the principal said. Grandpa, which is more important, talent or hard work? They don't have talent, so can I not give those poor students special training, but directly find a way to get them expelled? Okay. Shengde said. Don't learn from Yu. If you keep expelling them, will I still open a school? And which is more important, talent or hard work? Are you crazy? Think about this question. Stop thinking, the principal said angrily. Why? Shengde said. Because most people who think about the question of which is more important, talent or hard work, are not talented. People only dream about things they don't have. If you are the most talented, why do you still think about these things? Moreover, what is the meaning of this question? Talent is more important than hard work, so if you have talent, you don't need to work hard? Obviously nonsense. People who work hard may fail, but there is no successful person in this world who doesn't work hard. So you are entangled in this question. Don't you want to get the answer that if you don't have talent, hard work is useless? So you don't work hard and happily give up on yourself. Hard work may not necessarily lead to success, but not working hard will definitely be easy, the principal said. Then I won't think about it tomorrow, but explain it to me today. I don't have good talent. Is hard work useful? Sunday said coquettishly. It's useless, so don't be a trainer. Drop out of school, the principal said. Sunday was stunned for a while before saying, Grandpa, shouldn't you comfort me at this time? Is comforting you useful? You are so obsessed with talent, so don't work hard. It's very happy to give up on yourself. Grandpa still has some money. As long as you spend it frugally, you won't starve to death. Go home, the principal said. Okay, I don't want to think about that question anymore, Shengde said. Although she was defeated by Yu again, after working hard on her tactics, she was a little disappointed, but apart from Yu, she was still the first in the elementary class. She was full of love for Pokémon and everything else, and she would never drop out of school. The principal glanced at Shengde without saying a word, then returned to the office, watched Shengde leave, and then said to himself, talent, is it important? There is no use saying such nonsense. Of course talent is important. I just don't have good talent, so I have never been on the 4 heavenly kings in my life. Asking me this question hurts my heart. If you weren't my granddaughter, I would beat you. How important is talent? Don't I know? But talent is determined from birth. I want to change it, commit suicide, and reincarnate. This kind of crappy question, besides hurting my heart, what reference value is there? Some people are born dragons, some are born tigers, and some are born insects. Why don't you compare them with the same kind? Why do you have to compare with people who are completely different from you? Doesn't a tiger have the right to live if it can't beat a dragon? What about the bugs? You have to provoke your grandfather and recall the unbearable things in the past. Don't you know that there are still many people in this world who can't even get enough food? They are just idle. Too much pocket money is given. They always think about things all day long. Don't you know that many people may not have the ability to survive if they don't work hard? Next month's pocket money will be halved. Chapter 41 Lily dares to touch Pokémon. Yu, I dare to touch Absol. In the grove, Yu looked at Lily, who was hugging Absol tightly with a happy smile on her face, and a stunned expression appeared on her face. Because of Lily's special nature, she likes Pokémon, but dares not touch them, and she doesn't have any herself, so Yu temporarily let Absol's body guard Lily. At the same time, let Lily be responsible for Absol's food. This is also the only opportunity for Lily to get close to Pokémon when she is at home. Someone prepares the food and play facilities needed by Pokémon in the yard, and then she watches through the glass. But Yu really didn't expect Lily to dare to hug Absol. How did you do it? Yu looked at Lily in disbelief. Lily doesn't dare to touch Pokémon. That is a psychological barrier, and psychological barriers are very mysterious. It is possible to cross it in the next second, or it is possible that you can't cross it in your lifetime. That's how I did it. I watched Absol eat as usual, and then tried hard to hug Absol. I tried for a long time, and then I did it. Now I'm not afraid of Pokémon anymore. Lily happily hugged Absol. Absol looked at Lily with a hint of doting, squinting his eyes. Are you not afraid of Pokémon anymore, Haunter? Yu said. Haunter understood instantly, and floated in front of Lily. Lily's body suddenly shrank, and she was shocked, and her whole body petrified. It seems that it's not completely healed, Yu said. Then I still didn't succeed. Lily felt her body's instinct, and a hint of disappointment appeared on her face. The gap between 0 and 1 is often greater than the gap between 1 and 10. You can take the first step now. Next, the second and third steps will be soon. You are also suitable to get a Pokémon to raise, Yu encouraged. Can I? Lily said with some lack of confidence. It's definitely not possible to mature directly. Find a pet egg, work hard, and believe in yourself, Yu said. Lily nodded solemnly, her little face firm. I can do it. Yu smiled, and sent Lily to the dormitory with a smile on her face. Lily is soft and cute, kind and compassionate. She doesn't dare to touch Pokémon, because she likes them. In the eyes of some extreme people, she may be a bit of a green tea. But in reality, Lily's personality is actually a bit stubborn. She is not weak at all. When encountering danger, her first reaction is not to escape, but to face it head on. Just like in the original trajectory, Lusamine was caught in the ultimate space, and Lily did not cry, but changed her appearance and bravely entered the ultimate world. But what happened? Yu returned to the room, and lowered his head to ask Absol. Absol, half a month ago, Lily suddenly wanted to hug me. I saw her feeding me food, and the food was delicious, so I hugged her, and rushed over to her. But when I went over, she was frightened, and took several steps back. Her whole body was petrified. After that, I didn't want to pay attention to her. Every time I ate, she watched by the side, but she seemed to have been trying, but I still ignored her. Yu looked at Haunter. As a Pokémon that can speak both human and Pokémon language, Haunter is a part-time translator. Half a month ago, Lily must have been hit, so she wanted to hug Absol to prove it. Then Absol saw this shit shoveler, who looked pretty good, much better than you, with a little fragrance on her body, and a long-term meal ticket, and the food was delicious, so he shamelessly rubbed over himself, but Lily pushed him instead, and then Absol was angry. Who is not a little princess? He ignored Lily. Although Lily tried to please him in various ways during this period, Absol was still a little princess and just ignored Lily. Ghastly said. Yu raised his eyebrows slightly. Does Absol have such a long meaning in his Absol glared at Haunter angrily. Don't translate it randomly. You are the little princess. Keep talking. Don't stop. Yu is still waiting for the next translation. Haunter looked at Absol and said righteously. It's definitely not that I dislike Yu because he is not pretty enough or smells good enough. It's Absol who thinks so. Absol, keep talking. Yu also said. Absol then put away his expression with an unsatisfied look, continued to train, and beat it. After that, for half a month, she kept trying, and I was a little less angry, thinking about forgiving her, and then I was training according to Yu's method on the cliff. I accidentally loosened the rock and fell down. Lily saw it, rushed over, and protected me in her arms. After half a month, Absol deeply realized his hypocrisy and felt that it was wrong to treat the shit scooper who gave him food like this because of such a small matter. After all, this shit scooper is so good looking, much better looking than Yu, and much more gentle, but not thick-skinned enough. Sorry, bad review. Plus he is a dull person who only knows how to train. So he was left alone and kept training until today. When the cliff rock loosened, Absol fell uselessly. Lily rushed down to save it regardless of her own safety, and Absol agreed to let her hold it. Ghastly said, starting today, you are not allowed to play with your phone for a week. Yu looked at Ghastly. If Yu was still not sure that this guy had added his personal opinions when translating, Yu would be really out of his mind. No playing with my phone. Haunter's eyes lit up all of a sudden, staring at Yu. What are you kidding? If I don't play games, what use do I have with these hands? Don't look at me. Keep translating, or I'll send you to the reverse world to keep company with Giratina, and you won't be allowed to play with your phone for a month. Yu said. Haunter was instantly furious and almost wanted to flip the table, but in the end, thinking that he still needed Yu to top up his cell phone bill, he silently swallowed back the anger that was about to explode. Poor, weak and helpless. Absol. Oh, carrot. Oh, I told you to act and be naughty. If you don't learn from me and never play games, you won't be threatened, you stupid ghost. Absol, continue. Yu said. Absol explained sincerely, and Haunter didn't dare to make trouble again, and told the matter again. What happened next was actually very simple. In order to save Absol, Lily rushed over, hugged Absol, and fell down together, trying to protect Absol with her body. But in fact, Absol did not need Lily to save it. He sent a destruction ray to the ground, used the reaction force to stabilize his body slightly, then casually moved the sickle horn on his head, put Lily on his back, and then jumped on the mountain wall, carrying Lily up. Because Lily had hugged Absol in a hurry, some things took the first step, and the next thing was the same. Absol became the first Pokémon that Lily could touch. I see. In other words, Lily, in a hurry, instinctively loved Pokémon in her heart, so she temporarily broke through the psychological barrier. Unfortunately, this kind of breakthrough is only temporary. If you want to last long, it depends on when Lily really breaks through the psychological barrier. Yu said. So you want to help? Do you like her? Haunter floated to Yu curiously. When did you gossip so much? Yu looked at Haunter strangely. Because you have multiple girlfriends, they won't care about me. You can play with your phone as you like. Haunter laughed proudly. That's impossible. Unless I die, I will care about you every day. In addition, girlfriends are nothing to do with me. At least before the age of 20, I won't consider this issue, so don't think about it in the next 10 years. Yu said. Don't fall in love before the age of 20? Then you are hopeless. Scientific research shows that those who have never been in love before the age of 20 have a half-hour chance of falling in love in the future than those who have been in love before the age of 20. Haunter shouted. Then I'll hold you and live my life. Yu said indifferently and turned away. Haunter was floating behind him, with a face full of disgust. I don't want to live with you. I want a girlfriend. How can I have a girlfriend if you are single and don't fall in love? Region, Serona Villa. A cute room full of pink atmosphere, a soft and cute Eevee lying on the bed, playing a tablet game, looking at the dim avatar with a puzzled look. Strange, why didn't the little brother go online today? You promised to take me to heaven? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. we cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42, Yuma's phone call. Hey, isn't this our brave and fearless hero? He overthrew 2 classes for love. In the video, Yu's mother was wearing a loose nightgown and looked at Yu with a playful look. It's not for love, but Lilia was innocently affected. Their main target is me, so of course I have to call her. Yu explained helplessly. It was late at night, and I was about to go to bed, and a video came over. It was really true. Moreover, it had been half a month since that incident happened. That's not the case. Lilia, you are beautiful, and your family is good. You completely meet my standards for a daughter-in-law. Work harder and try to win her. Such a cute girl. You can't bear to let someone take her away. Yu's mother said. Only if it's mine will be taken away. If it's not mine, then there is no such thing as taking her away. Mom, study Chinese well, okay? Don't want to have a partner when you see a girl. This is the thinking of Bulldozer and Dumas. It's unhealthy. Yu said. You little brat, you dare to teach me a lesson? Are you bold? Yu's mother said angrily. Well, to be honest. By the way, you came to me in the middle of the night. Is my Pikachu coming soon? Yu said. Well, not yet. After investigation, it seems that no one in Kanto has trained Pikachu to the level of a king. Yu's mother said. So, just give up. Yu said. Training Pikachu to the level of a king is about the same difficulty as catching a legendary beast, or even much more difficult. It's hard to do it. After all, there is no red in this world. Zyos one may be possible in the future. However, Zyos one perfectly inherited Zyos personality. It is estimated that it is unlikely to be single in this life, although there are many harems. Huh? Don't you want it anymore? Yu's mother asked in confusion. I've delayed it for too long, and the expectation value is low. Besides, I have Absol. Yu said. It's just as cute. And you can ride it. Then the gift I carefully prepared for you is useless. Yu's mother said. Gift and gift, what is it? Yu asked curiously. His mother never gave gifts easily, and when she did, it was a big gift. I haven't found a Pikachu with a Super King ancestor, but I found an equally cute Eevee with a Super King ancestor. I wanted to give it to you, but since you don't want it, there's nothing I can do, said Yu's mother. Wait, I want it. Where is it? Can I teleport it here now? When Yu heard that there was a Super King ancestor, and it was Eevee, he suddenly became energetic, and jumped 3 feet high from the bed. Eevee. Even if it doesn't have the genetic bloodline of a Super King ancestor, it's so cute, you can keep a few around you. It has both good looks and strength. And the 8 evolutions of Eevee can make you arrange your team more perfectly. Whatever attribute is missing, let Eevee evolve into that attribute. No, because Eevee is still an egg and hasn't hatched yet, said Yu's mother. It hasn't hatched yet, that's no problem, it can be delivered by plane. By the way, Mom, where did you get this egg? Who is willing to sell this Eevee? Yu said. Your sister Kona, her self gave birth to a child. She was originally hesitant about whether to raise it herself or not, but after hearing about you, she agreed to sell it to us. Speaking of which, your sister Kona really dotes on you. If it weren't for the big age gap between you and her, she would definitely be the most suitable candidate. You can be a gigolo and have no worries for the rest of your life. Women are responsible for the outside world, and men are responsible for the inside world, said Yu's mother. Mom, you look down on your son too much. When did I fall to the point of being a gigolo? Yu complained in dissatisfaction. I can't help it. After all, son, before you were chosen by Giratina, I couldn't see your future and always wanted to keep a small account, said Yu's mother. Yu raised his finger and hesitated on the hang up button. What on earth did I do to make you think that I was no good enough, that you had to keep a small account? After a long time, thinking of the Ibrahimovic that he had not yet obtained, Yu withdrew his hand abruptly and said, Mom, how will the Ibrahimovic be delivered? Will it be delivered by plane? When will it arrive? Not by express delivery. You can pick it up yourself. 3 days later, go to your uncle's house and attend your uncle's funeral. I will give you the Ibrahimovic egg on the way, said Yu's mother. Uncle's funeral? Yu was stunned. His uncle, the head of the Sasaki family, Kojiro's father, was one of the richest people in Kanto. His food, clothing, shelter, transportation, and medical protection were all top-notch. How could he suddenly die? Moreover, the most important thing is that there is no sadness on his mother's face. This is unreasonable. They have always had a good relationship between brothers and sisters. So, there is only one possibility. Uncle pretended to be dead. Want to lure his cousin back. Yu said. Smart. Worthy of being my son. He inherited my excellent genes. Your cousin Kojiro and Lumigia have been engaged for so long. It's time to get married. So your uncle and aunt will fake their own death to see if they can bring your cousin back. Yu's mother said. Then, get married? Yu said. Of course, Kojiro is the same. Lumigia comes from a famous family. She is worthy of him in every way. She is beautiful, friendly, and every move is a standard lady. Why run away from home? Yu's mother said here, and couldn't help but blame a little more. Mom, the technology of my uncle's hospital has always been very good, especially the ophthalmology department. Why don't you go and have a look? Yu said with a strange expression. Lumigia, a standard lady, are you kidding? Lumigia is just Musashi who has money and changed his hairstyle. Looks exactly the same, has the same temper, and is even worse. She whips people with a whip every day and trains Kojiro, just like a trainer trains an animal. Is this called a lady? Today is not April Fool's Day. You little brat, are you looking for death? Yu's mother glared at Yu angrily. What's wrong with Lumigia? If she wasn't so much older than you, I would have thought of introducing you to someone else. No, Mom, if you do that, you will have to see Lumigia in the hospital on one hand, and me in prison on the other. Yu said. Lumigia has the personality to be his fiancé. Whip him with a whip, train him? He is not Kojiro, who will bear everything obediently, and will definitely be destroyed and killed by a ray of death. By then, either one will be in the hospital and the other in prison. Or to be more exaggerated, one will be in the crematorium and the other in prison. Bah, stop talking so depressingly. Anyway, you must go to the party in 3 days. Yu's mother said. Okay, I will definitely go. By the way, is it convenient for me to take Lilia to meet the parents? Yu said. You thought of taking Lilia to meet the parents now, son. You have grown up. Yu's mother showed a relieved expression. I just think Lilia's current situation at school is worrying. To be honest, why don't you contact her mother and ask her to go back to Alala? After all, Lilia and I don't have many common topics. I really can't tell which clothes, accessories, perfumes, scarves, etc. are good looking and which are ugly. She needs female companions of the same age, and because of me, she has almost no friends at school. Yu said. People need companions, especially Lilia's age, but Lilia is afraid of Pokémon, so it's hard for her to make friends. And because of him, no one dares to be friends with her in the Pokémon school now. I'll tell Lusamine about this for you, but I can't do anything specific. Yu's mother said. Okay, that's it for now. I'm going to sleep first. Also, Mom, don't call me in the middle of the night in the future, okay? I'm growing taller, and if I'm woken up in the middle of the night, I usually can't fall asleep again. Yu said. Oh, I forgot the time difference. I'm basking in the sun in Alala now. No wonder it's so dark there. I'll remember it next time. Yu's mother said after realizing it. 3 black lines appeared on Yu's forehead. Sometimes he really couldn't connect the person in front of him with the businesswoman rumored by the outside world. It's totally different style. So many times, Yu felt that his mother was deliberately tricking him. After all, if having a child is not for fun, it is meaningless. The collection has exceeded 1000, and a chapter is updated as usual. In addition, the editor said that this book has reached the park time, so I hope that the big guys will cast more recommendation votes and post more comments to increase popularity. After all, with good results, this book will go further and the free period will be longer. Chapter 43, Sasaki Family Party. Is this the Sasaki family? We have been driving in from the gate for a long time, but we haven't reached the house yet. Lily sat in the car and looked around curiously. She always thought that her family was rich enough. the richest man in Alala. Mother's group artificially built an island that is no smaller than the 4 natural islands in Alala. But compared with this place, Lily felt so poor. It took at least half an hour to drive in from the gate, but we haven't reached the residence yet. Is it really so exaggerated? Relax, you will get used to it after a few rides. We are almost there, Yu said calmly. Oh. Lily nodded, watching a majestic building appear in front of her, which was much larger than the school teaching building, and exclaimed in her heart, finally arrived. Fortunately, this house is still about the same size as my house, not too exaggerated. Yu's expression was wonderful, and finally decided to tell Lily the truth. That's just the doghouse of my cousin Kojiro's Pokémon Growlithe. Doghouse? Lily opened her mouth in surprise. The house I live in is about the same size as other people's doghouses? For the first time, Lilia discovered that she was not so rich. Looking at the shocked Lilia, Yu did not speak. In terms of money, the Sasaki family is not only famous in Kanto, but also ranked in the world. To be honest, Yu was also shocked at first. Later, he got used to it. After a while, the car stopped, and the butler got out of the car and opened the door. Master Yu, Miss Lilia, please get out of the car. Yu got out of the car, pushed open the door, and walked inside. He saw a huge cross hanging on the wall opposite, surrounded by white words, and 2 coffins were placed there. Yu's mouth twitched, and he looked at the butler and said, Uncle and Aunt, have you lied in it? It's been lying in it for a few days. The butler replied. A few days? Didn't you find your cousin yet? Is it necessary to act so quickly? Wait until you find him before going in. Yu said, although the coffin is actually made of wood, lying in it is no different from lying on wood. But when he is made into a coffin, he will always feel uncomfortable lying in it. Not to mention, how many days can you lie there? This coffin is carefully crafted, with full safety performance. Even sniper bullets can't penetrate the coffin. At the same time, it is extremely comfortable to lie in it. There are also golden bellflowers in the coffin to calm the nerves, which help sleep and keep fit. Lying in it for a long time is better than taking hundreds of thousands of nutritional supplements on the market. The master and the ladies like the feeling of lying in it very much, so they lie in it in advance, and have been lying there for several days. The housekeeper said, is this okay? Yu's eyebrows jumped restlessly. He didn't know if he opened this world in the wrong way. He always felt that the style of a group of people was not right. The 4 kings are more coquettish than each other. His mother, a businesswoman, is calm and strong in front of outsiders, but confused and careless in front of herself. There are also uncles and aunts, Kanto nobles, who like to lie in coffins. Sure, Xiaoyao, you are here. Your aunt and I are very comfortable lying in this coffin. Otherwise, I will give you one. Your birthday is coming soon. As your birthday present. A middle-aged man's voice came from a coffin. No, forget it. Yu refused without hesitation. If you give me a coffin as a birthday gift, do you believe that I will go get a haircut in the first month of the year? Well, then, you guys go ahead and play as you please. You are familiar with it anyway, and you are not an outsider. Uncle will not come out. Just treat me as dead. When Zyajiro arrives, play the villain who steals the family property. Yu's uncle's voice came, and then it was gone. Okay. Yu nodded, looked at the housekeeper and said, housekeeper, when will my mother arrive? I have contacted her, and the eldest lady will be here soon. If the young master feels bored, he can meet Miss Lumigia first. The housekeeper said. Forget it, Lumigia and I don't have much in common. Yu said. When can you find my cousin? Yu said. The news has been released. I believe it will be soon. The 2 partners of Master Zyajiro are both money lovers. When they hear the news of the death of the master and the lady, they will definitely tie Master Zyajiro back to inherit the family property. The housekeeper said. Sure, then, when the time comes, if you need to act, just call me, and I'll be ready at any time. Now prepare a big meal for me, preferably one that has specialties from all over the world. Yu said. Giratina's food is getting better and better, and simple hot pot can no longer satisfy it. Yes, wait a moment, young master. The housekeeper called immediately. Okay, Lily, have a big meal with me, Kanto specialties. Yu said. Yu, do the two of us need to eat so many dishes? Lily looked at the dishes served in disbelief. There are only 2 people in total, and 4 or 5 dishes are no less, and now there are 20 or 30 dishes. There's no way, it's customary here. Waste. Yu spread his hands and said, if it wasn't so, how could Kajiro run away from home? Kajiro eats a meal, and he needs 6 soup spoons and 7 forks. His every move is in line with the standard, and the so-called standard is that basically eating a little of each dish is enough. Eat more. You are not polite. Lumigia Whip teaches you how to be a person. Yu, do you usually eat like this? Lilia said. After she was born, she always thought her family was rich, but after coming to Sasaki's house with Yu today, she found that she was so poor. No, don't talk nonsense. I never eat more than 3 dishes when I eat a meal alone, okay? It's just that here, if you don't eat like this, you will be guilty. Yu said. Oh. Lilia nodded. Don't come next time. Such a waste is not in line with the spirit of a lala at all. Yu smiled. It was a waste to taste the food by yourself, but the taste was really good. Giratina should like it. Otherwise, send the unfinished food to the reverse space. With the size of Giratina, there is no problem eating it. No waste. Maybe it can also increase a wave of favorability. Haunter, who emerged from Yu's shadow and was also eating, suddenly glanced at Yu sharply. It and Yu were in sync and could feel Yu's emotional fluctuations. So what was he thinking just now? Why do I feel so dangerous? Is he going to die again? What should I do? How can I stop him from committing suicide? Haunter panicked online. The black horn of the sickle on Absol's head shone, and he had a vague premonition of danger. What's wrong? There is no natural disaster here? With a nervous and doubtful heart, Haunter and Absol finished their meal. After a while, Yalma fell from the sky from the airship. Mom. Yu looked at Yalma, showing a happy expression, and walked over with a warm face. My Eevee egg. Yalma also walked all the way over, and then passed by Yu, walked in front of Lilia and said, You are Lilia. You are indeed more beautiful than in the photo. No, aren't. Lilia said shyly. Don't be modest, I just look good. Yalma looked happy. Mom, I'm here. Yu weakly expressed his presence. Don't you see I'm chatting with Lilia? Stay away by yourself. Yalma said without turning back. Yu's mouth twitched. He really picked it up from the trash can. When I was a kid, you really didn't lie to me. Sniffing, Yu went to find Ibrahimovic's egg by himself. Chapter 44. The coffin lid was lifted. With the help of his entourage, Yu successfully found the egg of Eevee. White background with brown lines. The lines are as beautiful as clouds. Beautiful. This was Yu's first reaction when he saw the egg of Eevee. How long will it take to hatch? Yu asked the nutritionist who was taking care of the Eevee eggs. Pokémon eggs are very fragile. There is a certain probability that any egg will not hatch and become a dead egg, so there is usually a special nutritionist to take care of it. This Eevee egg was laid 3 days ago. It will take about 3 months to hatch, the nutritionist said. 3 months. Yu calculated in his mind. After the Pokémon is hatched, there is a larval period, during which the Pokémon will be relatively weak. The length of this larval period varies with the Pokémon's own race and its own talents. For example, Zyoz's little elephant can fight as soon as it is born. The impact is very fierce. And Zyuxa's to GP, from Kanto to the Orange Islands, and then to Johto, for a whole season. Except for the finger swing, all other special moves are not available. The average larval period of Eevee is 1 month. So it can't fight for at least 4 months. And the Pokémon Quartz Conference only lasts for more than 6 months. In 2 months, can Eevee be upgraded to at least the advanced level? Yu felt it was uncertain. Let's keep it for now. Just thinking about it, Yu saw the butler driving a black car in, and then Zyozzy, Zyugang, and Zyuxa got out of the car together. Is the butler so smart? He knew to find Zyozzy and the other 3. Yu was surprised. Zyozzy and Team Rocket, that is really a fate that can't be broken up in a lifetime. As long as Zyozzy is there, there will be a trio. No matter when and where. As long as Zyozzy is trapped, Kajiro will definitely come. Just thinking about it, a phone call came in, and Yu answered it casually. Master Yu, get ready for the performance. The butler's voice sounded on the other end. Yu nodded, hung up the phone, and put the EV egg in his backpack. Is human prenatal education useful or not? So far, there seems to be no authoritative scientific research to show that prenatal education is useful. But Pokémon prenatal education is really useful, because Pokémon can sense the external situation for a period of time before hatching. Just like in the animation, the Yukara egg that Zyossi got knew what happened before hatching. So, he decided to carry the EV egg with him all the time. Turning around, Yu wiped his face, shook his hair, and showed a standard villain expression on his face, and walked into the castle arrogantly. Yu, why are you here too? Zyossi looked at Yu strangely. Because my dearest uncle is gone. And my cousin didn't come back. So I'm the only heir to the Sasaki family. So all my uncle's inheritance is inherited by me. Yu said proudly. No, Master Yu. The master and the lady have the only son, Master Kajiro. As long as Master Kajiro and Miss Lumigia get married, he can inherit the inheritance. And you, my cousin, can't get a penny. The housekeeper said righteously. But can you find cousin Kajiro? Unless he appears here within 24 hours and marries Lumigia, the Sasaki family will be mine. Yu laughed. It's so fake. On the second floor, Haunter, who was watching the surveillance, complained. And it's so ugly. His mouth is too wide, just like a third-rate villain in anime. Don't you know that cool and handsome villains are popular now? Yu's mother complained. Yes, at first glance, it's clear that he hasn't read the actor's self-cultivation. Mom, buy him a copy. Ghastly said. Okay, son, I'll buy you one too. Yu's mother touched Haunter's head. Haunter and Yu grew up together, which means she raised him since he was a child, and there is really no difference between him and her son. Lilia sat on the side, with a frown on her face, watching the video surveillance, and then looking at the person and the pet here. Who is the mother, and who is the son? And Yu didn't know that he was complained by his own mother and Pokémon, and he was still sighing that his acting skills were superb, and he played the image of an ugly cousin who wanted to occupy his cousin's property to the fullest. Yu, this is Kajiro's inheritance. It should have nothing to do with you. Zyossi couldn't help but say. I always feel that the Yu I saw today is not the same one I knew before. There is no way. Who told him not to show up? If he doesn't show up, this family property will only belong to me. Unless he shows up now. Otherwise, there is nothing I can do, right? This is the will left by my uncle and aunt, and it is also the tradition of the Sasaki family for hundreds of years. Yu put his hands on his hips and said proudly. No, I'm back. At this moment, there were 3 bangs outside, and 3 things fell to the ground, and then a loud female voice sounded. Then I saw the castle gate opened, and Kajiro was forced in with his mouth taped with tape. At the same time, Musashi and Meow Meow were wearing black gauze, one controlling Kajiro's hands, and the other controlling Kajiro's legs, as if they were controlling Kajiro like a marionette. Yu looked strange. Musashi and Meow Meow dressed like this. Did they think that others would not see them like this? Master Kajiro, you are finally back. When the butler saw Kajiro coming back, he completely ignored Musashi and Meow Meow behind him, and rushed over excitedly. Yu looked at the hot tears in the housekeeper's eyes that seemed to be about to fall, but were still there, and admired in his heart. Suddenly, he found that his acting skills seemed to be really not that good. This is what an actor should be like. Being a housekeeper is really a waste of talent. Yes, I'm back. Musashi spoke on behalf of Kajiro, and then said to Yu, your conspiracy to covet our family's inheritance has now been exposed by us. You can't even think about getting a penny of our Sasaki family's inheritance. Yu thought about his current identity, sighed, and turned pale. He tried hard to show the image of a person who conspired to fight for property but failed. Although he felt that it was completely unnecessary, the IQ of these 3 guys, to be precise, in front of money, Musashi and Meow simply have no brains. The housekeeper looked at Yu's performance and sighed in his heart, thinking, Master Yu is not good enough, he is not into the role at all, and he still needs to be trained. But he still remembered his play well, and said to Kajiro, Master Kajiro, you come back, hurry up and marry Miss Lumigia. Okay. Mom and Dad, I'm back. I'm here to inherit the estate. Musashi pushed Kajiro towards the two coffins. No, you have to kneel down. Meow. Meow meow kicked Kajiro's stage and made him kneel down. Mom and Dad, I'm back. Meow. As soon as the voice fell, the two coffins suddenly trembled violently. What's wrong? Musashi and Meow Meow were shocked for a moment. Meow Meow's legs went weak, and Zyloksha subconsciously hid behind Zylozi. What happened? Was he a corpse? Since you asked sincerely. A coffin lid was lifted, and a middle-aged gentleman jumped out of the coffin. I will tell you with great mercy. Then another coffin lid flew up, and a middle-aged lady jumped out of the coffin. At the same time, several beams of light on the roof lit up, shining on the two people. Even though he knew in his heart that his uncle and aunt were not dead, Yu couldn't help but feel his heart skip a beat when he saw this scene. Who said that seeing a person's coffin, you can dance on their grave? If you run into the Sasaki family, you'll be scared to death on the spot. Yu was prepared, but it was still like this, not to mention Musashi and Mio, who were almost paralyzed on the ground. They even forgot to investigate whether these two people plagiarized their lines and looked surprised. Alive, alive. They are not dead at all. My parents are such people. They can do anything to trick us back. Kajiro broke free from the tape and roared. My dear Kajiro, you are finally back. Marry Rumijia. Kajiro's father said. I won't. Every cell in Kajiro's body was roaring in resistance. This is not up to you. Kajiro, listen carefully. We are a famous family with a glorious history. As the heir, you have the obligation to marry your fiancée to maintain our noble family style. Kajiro's father said. If there are obligations, there should also be rights. Kajiro shouted. I don't know that. Anyway, if I tell you to marry a vegetable, you have to marry a vegetable. And if I tell you to marry a radish, you have to marry a radish. You have no right to protest at all. Kajiro's father said. In a family like ours, only when you get married can you be considered an adult. Kajiro's mother added. I refuse. Kajiro roared. This is not up to you. Butler, take them away. Kajiro's father said. Then the butler acted quickly, picked up Kajiro with one hand and Musashi Meow Meow with the other, and rushed inside. Okay, you can play as you like. We'll leave first. Kajiro's father pulled Kajiro's mother and jumped inside happily. Chapter 45 vs Zylozi. Kajiro, is everything alright? Zylozi said. Although Kajiro and the other two had caused him a lot of trouble, he was still a little worried. Don't worry, at most he will be taken away for breeding. It's a small matter. Yu said calmly. And the probability of being taken away for breeding is not high. Because who is Kajiro? Do you think it's so easy to lock him up? The police station, the rocket team branch, the galaxy team prison, etc. Which one has locked him up? And they didn't show mercy to Kajiro. But could the Sasaki family not hold back? Strict as they are, if Kajiro really fights hard, can they still kill Kajiro, their only son? How is it possible? Therefore, Yu has foreseen the next outcome. It will definitely end with Kajiro escaping. Then Yu, let's do a Pokémon battle. Zylozi looked at Yu with high morale. Okay, go out. 3 on 3. Yu looked at Zylozi and walked to the open space outside. Okay, Pikachu, it's decided to be you. Zylozi said to Pikachu. Pikachu called out cutely, and the two red electric bags on his cheeks emitted strong electricity. Yu nodded in disbelief. It was expected that Zylozi would be indecisive when faced with a Pikachu, regardless of any attributes. Pikachu just went up. Absol, you come. Yu threw the Pokeball and released Absol. What kind of Pokémon is this? Zylozi took out the Pokémon Pokédex curiously. No information. The Pokémon Pokédex made a mechanical electronics sound. There is no information? Zylozi was shocked. There was something that the Pokémon Pokédex didn't know. This Pokémon is Absol, from the Hone region. The Pokédex in your hand only has information about Pokémon from the Kanto region, so it can't be found. Yu said. I see. Hone region. Where is it? Is it far? Zylozi asked. Fortunately, it will take a few days to get there by boat. There are many Pokémon you haven't seen. Yu said. Then I will go there to challenge. Zylozi said passionately. Well, let's talk about it later. Now fight me first, Yu said. Oh, then what kind of Pokémon is your Absol? Zyros he asked. Yu rolled his eyes. In a Pokémon battle, asking for the opponent's information, if it was someone else, he would slap you to death. He said helplessly, evil attribute. Oh, evil attribute. Hey, what attribute is evil attribute? Zyros he looked confused. Absol, evil wave. Yu directly issued an attack command. He found that he and Zyros he really had no common language. Especially in this area of Pokémon basics, Zyros he would definitely fail the exam. Absol received the order, and purple-black energy waves burst out in the air. An energy ball filled with terrifying evil power burst out and hit Pikachu. Pikachu, get out of the way. Zyros he said hurriedly. Pikachu was startled, and his short legs jumped up, and jumped into the air quickly, just avoiding Absol's evil wave. Lightning. Just after dodging, Absol turned into a streak of white light, and rushed over quickly, violently hitting Pikachu's petite body. Pikachu screamed, was knocked into the sky, and then fell heavily to the ground. Pikachu, it's okay. Zyros he said worriedly. Pikachu stood up again, shook off the dust on his body, and said that he was fine. Okay, 100,000 volts. Zyros he shouted. Pikachu's cute voice became serious, and a strong yellow electric current burst out from his body, soaring into the sky, and turned into thunder, and fell towards Absol. See-through. Absol's eyes flashed green, and his body dodged calmly, hiding on the side of Pikachu. Pikachu, lightning. Zyros he said. Pikachu's 4 short legs ran quickly, turned into a streak of white light, and violently hit Absol, hitting Absol's neck, and knocking Absol away. Absol, air slash. Yu's voice also rang out almost at the same time. If it was another Pokémon that did this, it would be strange, and he would be very surprised, but Zyros' Pikachu was really not surprised at all. Pikachu's lightning flash passive skill, ignoring the size difference between the two sides, the attack hits, and will inevitably knock down the opponent. While Absol's body retreated, his head swung, and the black corner of the sickle cut through the air. The air blade emerged out of thin air and hit Pikachu accurately. After Pikachu's lightning flash, he was temporarily unable to react, so he was hit by the air slash, and fell to the ground, raising a cloud of dust. Absol, destroy the death light. The situation was unclear, but Yu's order rang out again. Absol was confused, and didn't know why Yu gave this order. The electric mouse on the opposite side could be dealt with by the air slash. In Hone, 7 or 8 were not enough to fight, but he still instinctively launched an attack. His body was faster than his mind, and the orange-yellow light gathered in his mouth, filled with destructive power. The domineering attack hit the smoke, and the entire smoke-wrapped area exploded completely, with gravel flying everywhere. When the smoke cleared, Pikachu lay on the ground, revealing a pair of big circular eyes. Yu secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Although in terms of hard power, the current Pikachu has just entered the elite, but when has Pikachu's strength been related to the level? When he is in good form, he can tie with Latias, and defeat Regius who is almost full of blood with a volt attack. When he is not in good form, the novice Chikorita can fight him on equal terms. Pikachu, thank you for your hard work. Zyros he came over, bent down and gently picked up Pikachu, and then handed it to Zyarksha. Next, Squirtle, go ahead. Zyros he swung the Pokeball, a red light flashed, and a silly turtle appeared on the field. Squirtle? I'm still Absol, you attack first. Yu said. Squirtle, water gun. Zyros he said. Squirtle's head suddenly drilled, and a strong stream of water spurted out of his mouth. Split it. Absol's eyes were sharp, and a faint white light appeared on his right claw. Like a sharp blade, he quickly slashed at Squirtle. His forelimbs passed through the center of the water flow, splitting the water flow in half, and hit Squirtle's head hard, knocking Squirtle away. Squirtle fell heavily to the ground, his head dazed. Squirtle, hold on. Zyros he shouted. Squirtle shook his head hard, touched his bald head, and seemed to be barely awake. Absol, use S slash to solve it. Yu said. Zyros' strength was weaker than he thought. Squirtle was only at the level of a high-level Pokémon, not even at the elite level. In other words, in Zyros's current team, except for the disobedient Charizard and Pikachu, only Bulbasaur who could use Sunshine Flame could reach the elite level. The rest were all at the advanced level. After all, Zyros was too weak at this time. If he was not taught by his trainer, he would never train seriously. 8 gym badges, half of which were obtained by giving away. The black horn of the sickle on Absol's forehead shone brightly, and he continuously launched air slashes. He found that his opponents this time were all weak. Squirtle, get out of the way. Zyros, he shouted. Squirtle's short blue legs jumped up, flexibly jumping in the dense air slashes. He looked flustered and anxious, but after a large wave of attacks, Squirtle was unscathed. You couldn't help but look sideways. Sure enough, Zyros' first generation of Pokémon may not be strong, but there are always some buff bonuses. Squirtle, use Bubble Beam. Zyros, he said. Squirtle's mouth suddenly opened wide, and large pieces of blue bubbles flew out, rushing towards Absol with strong water energy. Absol, full strength air slash. You said. Absol immediately shook his head quickly, and a series of air blades flew out, colliding with the bubbles, quickly destroying them, and hitting Squirtle. Squirtle, get out of the way. Zyros, he shouted. Squirtle immediately stopped erupting, fled quickly, and rolled to the side. Absol, continue. You said. Absol's sickle moved, and pieces of air force hit it. Squirtle hugged its head and ran fast. It was chased, and hit all the way, but it was still stable. You couldn't help but twitch his eyebrows. If other Pokémon were so good at hiding, he would accept it, but Squirtle, can you respect your race? You are a turtle. Squirtle, hold on, come on. Seeing Squirtle so strong, Zyros, he couldn't help but cheer him up. Thinking of the time, under the bombs of Team Rocket, Squirtle carried himself like this, and dodged all the way. He was not hit by any bombs. It is worthy of being my Squirtle. Absol, split it. You said. If long range doesn't work, just close combat. Absol was also a little annoyed. After failing to hit the turtle several times, he suddenly leaped up, pounced a few times, and finally hit Squirtle's shell hard, stepping on it heavily. Squirtle was hit, and turned upside down with a pair of background eyes. He felt hopeless and fainted. Squirtle, come back. Thank you for your hard work. Zyros picked up the Pokeball, and Absol raised his foot, allowing Zyros to successfully retrieve Squirtle. Okay, the third one is Bulbasaur, right? Come on. Let's finish it quickly. You said. The only one left is Bulbasaur. Or, the Pidgeot that was forgotten for many years, and left as soon as it evolved. Seeing Yu's careless look, Zyros' eyes were full of fighting spirit. Among the 4 people who set out together, he was the last to set out, got the fewest badges, was despised by Zyomeo, and now he couldn't beat his good friend Yu. Zyros took a deep breath, took off a treasure ball from his waist, threw it hard, and a red light flashed, and a mighty fire-breathing dragon appeared on the field. It's decided to be you, Charizard. Zyros looked at Charizard with burning eyes. Can you feel my heart? Charizard glanced at Zyros, then sprayed a large ball of flames to burn Zyros to a crisp, and then fell to the ground. Can't feel it. Don't disturb my sleep. Chapter 46. Arceus jumps over the wall. It seems that he is not obedient. Yu looked at the familiar scene in front of him, full of memories. Race name, Charizard. Real name, Old Charizard. Zyros' ace main force. The popularity of Pokémon in Zyros' hands is second only to Pikachu. Or, Charizard is the screenwriter's favorite son. Except for Mewtwo, it is the only Pokémon that can have 2 super evolution forms. It is the one that Zyros has invested the most energy in, except for Pikachu. However, Zyros is too weak now, and Charizard is too lazy to pay attention to him. So, there is the scene in front of him. Zyros' face was embarrassed. As a trainer, there is nothing more embarrassing than not being able to command his own Pokémon. He wanted to try, but your trainer level is too low. Find a way to improve your trainer level. You put away Absol, and there was no need to fight like this. I will. Zyros took back the Charizard and stared at Yu. I will improve my strength and then continue to come to you. At the Quartz Conference, I will defeat you and Zyomeo to become a Pokémon Master. Can you answer a question for me? What is the raw material of your confidence? Can you share some with me? Yu said. Humph. Zyozzy turned his head arrogantly. Although he was not very smart, he still understood what Yu said. Humph. You are not a cute girl. You are not pretending to be a ghost tsundere. This is not your personality. Honestly, improve the trainer level and then train your Pokémon. Like Pikachu, try hard to learn Iron Tail. Don't be so bad. In this way, I'm embarrassed to abuse you. Yu walked in front of Zyozzy and complained mercilessly. I will definitely win next time. Zyozzy turned his head and looked at Yu. The fire of fighting spirit in his eyes was so strong that anyone could feel his seriousness. Yu couldn't help but take a step back. Of course, he was not intimidated by the so-called momentum or the aura of the protagonist. But Zyozzy just turned his head and got too close, and he almost kissed him. If the first kiss was not given to the cute girl, but to Zyozzy, Yu would really jump into the river. After saying that, Zyozzy pulled his backpack and left again with Pikachu, Zyuksha, and Zyugang in the sunset. Yu watched Zyozzy leave. Although there were no accidents during the duel with Zyozzy today, it made him full of confidence in this year's Quartz Conference. Zyozzy was able to enter the top 16, and even without the Rocket team's interference, he could enter the top 8. So as long as he has good luck, he is basically stable. Yu, who is that kid? Giratina's voice suddenly sounded, and Yu took out a mirror from his pocket. Since Giratina contacted him for the first time, he has been carrying a mirror with him. Zyozzy, my friend. Yu said. He is very special, and gives me a very strange feeling. Do you know why? Giratina said. Since its birth, it has lived for countless years, experienced one era after another, and witnessed the demise of countless civilizations, but there are not many humans who can make it feel strange. How can this young man in front of him give him such a special feeling? Yu's expression is weird. Special. Of course it is special. Usually, Zyozzy is a fool most of the time, but very rarely, he can also be the eyes. He saved Mewtwo, rode Lugia, scolded Palkia, and raised Solgaleo. Which of the first level beasts in the world will not know Zyozzy in the future? How many have not been ridden by Pikachu? If you don't know Zyozzy, how can you be in the circle of legendary beasts? According to the original development, both you and your boss Arceus have been saved by him. As for how many times he has saved the world, you can no longer count. What's your expression? Giratina looked at Yu suspiciously. No, I'm thinking and confused. I don't know what's special about Zyozzy. Does having a Wava guide on his body count? Yu said. Wava guide? That's a special ability. If it's developed to the limit, it will have a bright future. However, it shouldn't give me this feeling. Forget it. Get closer to him in the future. This guy is weird. If you get close to him, it might be good. Giratina said. He was obviously a human, and he didn't look very good, not even as good looking as Zyozzy. Why did he feel so strange? No matter how great the benefit is, it can't compare to you. The greatest benefit I've gotten in this life is meeting you. For me, there is no greater benefit. Yu said. Huh. Giratina glanced at Yu, then his expression melted, and he looked very happy. Zyozzy, you are very sensible today. What are we eating today? Arceus jumping over the wall. Yu said. Arceus jumping over the wall. What is that? Giratina looked puzzled. This is a superb delicacy, with countless precious ingredients. Legend has it that when this dish was just made, it was emitting golden light and its fragrance reached the sky. Rayquaza and Ho-Oh were attracted to it, and danced in the sky, creating a peaceful atmosphere. Arceus smelled the fragrance of the dish, and jumped over the wall to eat it, so it is called Arceus jumping over the wall. Yu said. Oh. Lead the way. Giratina said. Legends become legends when they are spread too many times. If I often eat this Arceus jumping over the wall in the future, will humans say it like this in the future? Legend has it that a long time ago, Giratina was a merciful, benevolent, and great god. It was radiant, unparalleled, and powerful. Humans offered delicious food to thank him for his existence. Rayquaza and Ho-Oh were just dancing accompaniments in front of it. Arceus was so greedy that he wanted to jump over the wall to eat it. So delicious. Okay. Yu said diligently. Giratina, the power of Haunter's shadow attack has been increasing a little slowly recently. Is there any trick to increase it? It feels not hidden enough and not strong enough. Shadow attack is my special trick. It's normal that ordinary Pokémon can't learn it, but your Haunter is okay. Send it to me tomorrow and I'll practice it. Also, the power of Absol's Dark Wave seems to be a little low. Is there any way to increase it to a stronger level? No problem. Dark Wave. I can also do it. I'll teach it. It's really bad. A Dark Wave can only blow up rocks, not even a small mountain. How can it be your Pokémon and my little brother's little brother? And put your Flamahorse in the reverse world for a few days. I'll teach it to be sunny. Okay, Yu's voice was full of joy and gentle like water. Time ticked by. Haunter, Absol, and Flamahorse were all sent to the reverse world by Yu to receive special training from Giratina. Although Giratina is only the controller of the reversed world, and its natural attributes are only Ghost and Dragon, but after living for so long, even the poorest Pokémon will not only know the special moves of their own attributes, not to mention that Giratina's qualifications are definitely not bad. So Giratina knows some special moves of various attributes. Although it is not proficient, can the poor performance of a top student be the same as the poor performance of a poor student? Its lack of proficiency is also a master to Absol and Raper. So as a trainer, Yu has had a very leisurely life these days. Until, in the middle of the night, the alarm suddenly rang in the Sasaki family villa. Master Kajiro once again successfully ran away from home. Chapter 47 Haunted House. Leaving again. Yu, who was awakened by the alarm while lying on the bed, had a look of collapse on his face. Under normal circumstances, he could fall asleep easily, and once he fell asleep, he would not wake up even if thunderstruck. However, if he was really awakened, he would really not be able to sleep. So he disliked his mother calling him in the middle of the night. Unexpectedly, not letting people sleep in the middle of the night was actually a habit of the Sasaki family. He tossed and turned, and could not fall asleep. Finally, Yu thought about it, punched himself, and fell straight on the bed. Then the soul floated out of the body. Since becoming the messenger of Giratina, he found that he had awakened a new ability. He could leave his body. And after leaving his body, his strength was even stronger than in the body. After all, ghosts themselves have no entity, and Yu was reborn through time and space, so his soul power was originally several times that of ordinary people. Automatically passed through the wall and floated outside the yard. Woke up in the middle of the night, couldn't sleep when he wanted to sleep, and couldn't get up when he wanted to. But when he turned into a soul form, there were not so many things. The soul form is always easy. This is also what Yu liked to do most when he was a child. Maybe it's because of this. Too much work, so there are sequely. Wake up. It's not easy to fall asleep. Floating around. Floating east and west. Others can't see him. At most just feel the cold wind in the back of the head is cold. Floating in the sky. There is nothing to do for a while. It's not polite to peek. And the key is that there is nothing to peek. Business secrets and so on. I'm not interested. Beautiful women sleeping. It's too obscene. Just dance with the wind. Floating. Yu didn't know how far he floated and saw two unexpected people. To be precise, one person and one cat. Musashi, cat. The two of them are still nearby. Alas, I don't like it anyway. After all, it's the life of rich people, which makes people miss it more. Musashi said with his head down. Yes, no matter what, the life of rich people is still more attractive. Cat said dejectedly. Although, being rich is good, but Kajiro is better. Since you ask sincerely. At this time, a voice suddenly sounded in the sky. Musashi and Meowth looked up at the same time and saw a Meowth hot air balloon floating under the moonlight. Kajiro was watching them in the hot air balloon and kept letting the hot air balloon descend. Musashi was stunned at first, but then he reacted and ran all the way to the hot air balloon and said, "Then I will be merciful and tell you." Kajiro grabbed Musashi's hand and pulled Musashi onto the hot air balloon, and the hot air balloon gradually rose into the air again. Sorry, I didn't get the family's property. Kajiro touched his head and looked at Musashi embarrassedly. It's nothing, it doesn't matter. Although we have no money and no justice, we have freedom in the rocket team. Musashi, who has always loved money like his life, shook his hair unusually and casually, with an indescribable ease on his face. It was still best to have Kojiro around. Please give me more advice in the future, Musashi. Kojiro stretched out his hand to Musashi. Of course. Musashi held Kojiro's outstretched hand and looked at each other. Yu witnessed everything with a subtle smile on his face. Suddenly I felt that being woken up in the middle of the night was not such a bad thing. At least I saw this scene. It's great. This is Team Rocket. A handshake is a lifetime. Kanto, Orange Islands, Johto, Hone, Sinop, Unova, Kalas, Alala, and even Gala. Through wind and rain, life, and death, we have never been apart. But, looking at her face, that is exactly the same as Lumigi's. Doesn't Kojiro have any feelings in his heart? It's really not easy to live so freely every day. Oh, wait. Kojiro seemed to fall in love with Lumigi's face at first sight when he was a child. So does he like Musashi's face? Yu's eyes lit up, as if he had discovered some shocking secret. But, did you forget something? And me, meow. Meow hasn't gone up yet. At this time, a scream rang out. Yu just reacted and knew what he had forgotten. Looking at the scene of the hot air balloon floating in the sky and Meow Meow running on the ground, Yu smiled unkindly. It is really hard to imagine that before meeting Xiaozi, the success rate of these three people's missions was 100%. After laughing for a while, Yu's body floated. There were still several hours before dawn, so he continued to float, play around. He was not afraid of encountering any danger, because he was the most dangerous nearby. Floating and floating, Yu floated to a castle again. There were large pieces of fallen leaves on the stone road in front of the door. It looked like no one had been here for a long time. There was a sign hanging in front of the gate of the city courtyard. There are ghosts ahead, be careful. Ghosts? Yu raised his eyebrows, which means that this castle is a haunted house. There are ghosts in the Pokémon world, but most haunted houses are actually ghost Pokémon causing trouble. I'm free anyway, so I'll go in and have some fun. It's easy to pass through the iron gate. This is the good thing about being a ghost, you can do whatever you want. Then he passed through the castle gate, and the castle, which was originally pitch black, suddenly became bright. All the lights turned on, and then dimmed. Only a few light bulbs flickered, creating a terrifying atmosphere. Yu looked calm. That's it? Is there a ghost? Yu shouted. There was no answer. Then, Yu walked forward and went up to the second floor, which seemed to be a library. There were bookcases with many books in them, but there was a lot of dust. I guess no one would read them. Yu reached out to touch it, but saw that the books around him suddenly moved, and a large number of them fell towards him. Yu snapped his fingers and froze all the books in an instant. Then his body went through all the books directly to the roof, looking at a dark green Pokémon that looked like a ghost fire. Little thing, it turns out that you are the one who is causing trouble. Yu laughed. A dream demon, a ghost Pokémon. Like Ghastly, it likes to tease humans and feeds on human fear. The dream demon saw Yu also floated up and suddenly became terrified. His whole face suddenly turned pale and fled to the side. Yu was helpless. Aren't you scaring people? Why do you act as if I have made a big mistake? The psychological quality is a bit poor. Yu complained and continued to float. This place is so big. Is there only one dream demon? That dream demon is not very strong. Is it very good at illusion? How can a Pokémon occupy a villa alone? Thinking about it, suddenly saw the dream demon floating out again and dragging a Raichu. To be precise, it is a female Raichu, because the front end of the tail is missing a little. Then, the dream demon floated in front of Yu, saying something excitedly. The strange thing is that Yu found that in this state, he could actually understand what it said. Go away, this is my territory, don't come to grab the territory, go somewhere else, otherwise I will let my friends beat you. Chapter 48 Raichu. I actually understood it. Yu looked puzzled. It wasn't the first time that his soul had left his body. Nothing like this had happened before. Or did I not get Giratina's energy before? But now I have it, and I have mutated. Dream, go away, this is my territory, don't fight for it, you Pokémon. Dream Monster shouted at Yu. Pokémon? Am I a Pokémon now? Yu looked confused. So I could understand what they were saying. It seems that, although Pokémon are not of the same species, the languages of all Pokémon are strangely interlinked. Like Meowth, except for Deoxys, who came from outer space and has a different language system. The words of all other Pokémon can be easily translated. But how did I change from a human to a Pokémon? If so, wait a minute, I seem to have become the messenger of Giratina. The messenger of Pokémon is also a Pokémon. Otherwise, ask Giratina what tricks I can learn. Meh, hey, why are you ignoring me? Believe it or not, I will beat you up. Mengyeo saw Yu ignoring him several times, and he was immediately angry. His eyes widened, and he let out a sharp cry, and his ghost wave flashed. Yu slapped Mengyeo to the ground. You little Mengyeo, whether you are advanced or not is a problem, and you want to fight me? Who gave you the courage? Although I'm not mature yet, I'm also the messenger of the strongest king of the ghost system, okay? Thunder, seeing Mengyeo injured, Lei Qiu, who was forcibly pulled out, saw this scene and immediately let out an anxious cry. A strong electric current burst out from his body, and in an instant the dark room was illuminated like daylight, and the terrifying electric current vented towards Yu. The power in Yu's body immediately surged, forming a solid barrier in front of him to resist the thunder and lightning. Lei Qiu was shocked to see that the 100,000 volts he emitted was actually blocked, and then his little face flushed. Thunder Raichu's whole body was shining with yellow light, and the electric current pump with more powerful current than before burst out, hitting Yu like a series of electric dragons. Yu felt the sudden increase in pressure on his body, and his face changed slightly. The 100,000 volts of this Raichu actually made him feel a little pressured. In terms of attack power, this Raichu has surpassed the general elite. There is such a strong wild Pokémon. It's really novel. The thought flashed through his mind, but Yu did not slow down. The telekinesis on his body burst out, blocking all the lightning, and then hitting all of it back, hitting Raichu. Raichu thundered, very flustered, and was hit by the 100,000 volts, and his body fell backwards. The Dream Demon was startled, and immediately flew over, looking at the Raichu with concern. Thunder Raichu waved his hand to indicate that he was fine, and stood in front of the Dream Demon, emitting a strong current. Hey, you two little guys, don't be so aggressive. From the beginning to the end, I didn't take the initiative to attack, but you attacked me. Yu walked in front of the two Pokémon and said. Lei Raichu's expression was slightly stunned, as if it was really like this. It seemed that he didn't take the initiative to attack, it was the Dream Demon who attacked first. Thinking of this, Raichu lowered his head a little embarrassed, and the yellow electric bag was a little red. Dream, this is Dream Demon and Raichu's. You come here to grab the territory. The Dream Demon shouted at Yu. No, although I don't know who this castle belongs to. In fact, it doesn't belong to you and me, but to the owner of this castle. You are just a bad guest. Besides, I'm not here to rob, because I have a place to live. Yu said. The Dream Demon shouted loudly, why would it care about these? As a wild Pokémon, human laws do not exist for it. In its mind, everything can be robbed. These places belong to humans, just because humans robbed them a long time ago. Thunder, unlike the indifferent Dream Demon, Raichu lowered his head in embarrassment, and apologized to Yu. Thunder, I'm sorry. Seeing such a polite Raichu, Yu was happy, and lowered his head to touch Raichu's cheek. Thunder, the electric bag is the most important part of the Pikachu family, and it is also the most sensitive part. If it is not handled properly, it will be attacked immediately. If it is handled properly, it will make Raichu very comfortable. Like now. However, after a while, a strong electric current came out of Raichu's body and rushed towards Yu. Yu did not expect Raichu to attack suddenly and was accidentally hit. Thunder Raichu also panicked all of a sudden, with self-blame on his little face, and his little hands waved at a loss, wanting to comfort Yu, but when he was about to touch it, he trembled again, and did not dare to go deeper, fearing that there would be leakage, and shocking Yu. It's okay, dear. Yu was suddenly electrocuted, and felt a little uncomfortable, but he was strong, and his ghost form had much higher defense. Seeing the look on Likyu's face, he pretended that nothing had happened and touched Likyu. Likyu didn't dare to touch Yu again, and subconsciously took a step back, with a timid look in his eyes. Don't be afraid, your thunder can't hurt me, relax. And these are your thunder and lightning, as long as you can control them. Yu floated over, approached Lee Kyu directly, and reached out to touch Lee Kyu's tender cheek. Lee Kyu was startled, and burst out with a terrifying electric current. Yu endured the violent electric current, but always smiled, and said in a gentle voice, be good, it's okay, relax. Lee Kyu saw the warm smile on Yu's face, and his tense expression relaxed, looking at Yu with a glimmer of hope. Yu smiled and hugged Lee Kyu directly into his arms. Raichu didn't resist. After staying in Yu's arms for a while, he rubbed his cheek against Yu happily. It has been a long time since it has been in contact with humans like this. The last time it was like this was 3 years ago, when it was still a Pikachu. Everyone liked it at that time. Until it evolved into Raichu, became fat, heavy, not so good looking, and couldn't control the excess current in its body. Everyone disliked it. Even began to be afraid of it. Yu smiled. The Pikachu family and Eevee are all Pokémon that are closer to humans. At most, they are a little shy. Raichu is no exception. Only when there is too much electricity in the body, and it needs to be vented, will it become a little irritable. But this Raichu is obviously not just polite. It should be the shy type. This type is easy to get close to humans. Raichu didn't know how long it hadn't seen humans, so it was very happy to see Yu. Although Yu's body had no temperature, which was a little different from before, it was also very comfortable. Jumping on Yu's body, it seemed very happy. Yu also played happily with Raichu. Only the Dream Demon stayed aside in a sullen mood. Time flew by, and a few hours passed unknowingly. The sky brightened, and Yu touched Raichu's furry little head and said, okay, it's time, and I should go. I'll come to play with you again, when I'm free in the future. Raichu made a reluctant sound, and looked at Yu reluctantly. It was not easy for someone to play with him, but he was leaving. Or, you can go with me. Yu looked at Raichu and said. He got along well with this Raichu, and liked it very much. And it looked cute. Raichu was actually quite wronged. Because of Pikachu, Raichu played the role of a villain when he first appeared, beating up a group of Pokémon including Zyos' Pikachu, so he looked very evil. But in fact, the Pikachu family, Pikachu, Raichu, there is no ugly one. For example, the one Zyos met when he was in school in Sinnoh was very silly. When Lee Kyu heard this, he quickly shook his head and came out of Yu's arms. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49, Lumiga and Raichu. What? Don't you want to go with me? If you stay with me, you can eat and drink well every day, and there will be someone to play with you, but sometimes you will experience battles. Don't you want to? Yu asked in confusion. I have a trainer. She asked me to wait for her here. I will wait for her to come back here. Raichu said. Wait for your trainer to come back? Yu sighed. There was nothing to do. Most creatures like Pokémon are stubborn. Once they identify a trainer, it will be for life. Sometimes, even if the trainer abuses it thousands of times, it still regards the trainer as its first love. For example, Shinji's little Charmander. If it were a human crossing over, he would have to take a knife in the middle of the night and secretly kill Shinji. I will wait for the trainer to come back. Raichu said with a firm expression. Can you tell me about you and your trainer? Yu asked. Generally speaking, there are only 2 reasons for the separation of trainers and Pokémon. The first is because of an accidental separation, and the trainer is also looking for it, and the other is abandonment. Raichu said that she had an appointment with her trainer, and the trainer has not come yet. The latter is more likely. Okay, my trainer is very good looking, and likes me very much. When mentioning his trainer, Raichu showed a happy smile on his face. Yu nodded. Raichu's reaction was within his expectations. Pichu evolves into Pikachu, which requires a high degree of intimacy with the trainer. Lei. Soon after I was born, I saw her, my master. She is very good to me, whether it is food or clothing. She is the best, and she also bought me a lot of beautiful clothes and jewelry, and took me to play everywhere. When I evolve into Pikachu, it will be even better. Raichu gestured to show his high joy. I listened silently without saying a word of doubt. Lei. Until I evolved into Raichu, I couldn't control the electricity in my body and accidentally hurt my master. It was my fault. But the master didn't hurt me either. She quickly brought me here to play. It was just that something happened temporarily, so she let me stay here and wait for her. Yu frowned, and there was an 80% probability that it was abandoned. Judging from Raichu's description, its former trainer was a rich lady. Raising a Pichu is not for training Pichu to participate in any battle, but for raising a pet. This is also the usual style of the rich ladies in Kanto, raising some cute little Pokémon around. Pikachu and Eevee are always in the top 3 of the pet rankings, but most rich ladies will not raise Raichu, because most Pikachus are petite and weigh only 6 kilograms, which is very light. Even if they are fatter, they are generally around 10 kilograms. You can play with them at will. Raichu, on the other hand, is a circle bigger and fatter, with an average weight of 30 kilograms. If you raise it for a rich lady, eat well and drink well without exercise, the weight will generally increase to 50 kilograms. 100 kilograms, just like a pig, so no one wants to raise it. Can you tell me the information of your owner? I will help you find her. Yu said. He was abandoned 3 years ago, and waited until now. If he doesn't really meet her, he feels that this silly child Raichu will always wait here in a prison. Even if he doesn't capture it, he wants Raichu to be free. Don't waste your feelings on such a scum trainer. Raichu waved his little hands excitedly, turned into a flash of lightning, and ran into the room. Yu was slightly stunned. The little fat boy was quite fast. It turns out that fat boys are all potential stocks. No, it should be called fatty. After all, she is a girl. Yu thought for a while, and then saw Raichu running out excitedly, shouting a photo. Yu picked up the photo and thought, although I don't want to get dirty, wouldn't it be better to hold it with my hands? This doubt just popped up, and I looked down at Raichu's hand, and I immediately understood. Raichu has no fingers at all. After evolving, Pikachu's little finger turned into a brown little fleshy palm. Yu suddenly understood why Pikachu didn't evolve. Without fingers, many things are really inconvenient. With a lot of thoughts in his mind, Yu picked up the photo, and after seeing the appearance clearly, he was stunned. In the photo, a girl was holding a cute Pikachu, and that girl was surprisingly a smaller version of Lumigia. Lumigia has no brothers and sisters, so Musashi can't afford to keep a pet. So there is only one possibility. The person in the photo is Lumigia. Was this Raichu abandoned by Lumigia? Yu looked down at Raichu. It is really possible. Lumigia is a princess, so naturally she has princess syndrome. Some of her behaviors are really hypocritical in Yu's opinion. Among them, the etiquette norms of the nobility have a kind of paranoid aesthetic. Before she married Kajiro, she arranged the life after marriage and forced Kajiro to replace the Pokémon that had lived with him since childhood and could even be said to be Kajiro's only friend, with the elegant Kato. In the end, Kajiro ran away from home. Strictly speaking, the engagement was broken because Kajiro did not go to the engagement ceremony. In Lumigia's opinion, Pikachu meets the identity of a noble girl's pet, but Raichu may not meet the requirements. Thinking of this, Yu's expression was slightly heavy. Raichu poked Yu's waist with his little hand. You said you helped me find it. I haven't seen my master for 3 years. Is my master happy to see me? Let's go. I happen to know your trainer. Yu stood up and said. Raichu's calves jumped up, with an excited look on his face, and he didn't forget to say hello to Meng Yao, saying that he was leaving. Meng Yao was a little reluctant. He had been with Raichu for 3 years, and had long been accustomed to each other. Moreover, Raichu was much stronger than it, and had helped it drive away enemies who came to grab territory several times. Once Raichu left, it might not be able to defend this territory. In addition, Meng Yao felt that Raichu's owner had deliberately abandoned Raichu. How could a trainer not come to find him for several years? He had deliberately abandoned him. It felt that humans were not good people. Raichu's trainer was not a good thing, and this Pokémon that looked like a human was not a good thing either. Let's go. Yu picked up Raichu and flew in the sky, flying towards Sasaki's house. He had been flying around before, and it would be difficult to return the same way. But it was easy to find Sasaki's house. Just see the tallest building and fly over it. It will definitely not be wrong. Floating to the Sasaki family manor, Yu put Raichu on the ground and said, "Wait a minute, I'll change my appearance and come down to find you." After Yu finished speaking, he floated up to the second floor and returned to his body. Feeling heavy all of a sudden, Yu felt a little uncomfortable. It took a while for him to adapt, and he ran downstairs to see Raichu. Raichu looked up at Yu. This person was so different, a little warmer than before. "Okay, I'll take you to see your trainer," Yu said. Although he almost expected what would happen next, it's better to suffer a short pain than a long one. Some things must be experienced. Otherwise, being deceived for a lifetime, being imprisoned, and having feelings misplaced are even more tragic. Raichu looked expectant. Chapter 50 Desperate Raichu. Where is Lumigia? Yu found the butler of the Sasaki family. Miss Lumigia is in the lobby with the master and the lady, worrying about the escape of Master Kajiro. The butler said. "Butler, are you familiar with Lumigia?" Yu asked. "I'm quite familiar with her. Since she got engaged to Master Kajiro, Miss Lumigia has been coming to our house," the butler said. "Then let me ask you, did she have a Pikachu?" Yu asked. "Yes, Miss Lumigia once had a Pikachu, very cute, but after it evolved into Raichu 3 years ago, it seems that it has not appeared again," the butler said, and while speaking, he glanced at the Raichu next to Yu, as if he realized something. "Okay, I understand." Yu nodded, patted Raichu's head, and walked to the lobby. The butler was thoughtful, and didn't say much, turning around to continue working. "Lumigia, don't worry, we will definitely find Kajiro. It's my fault. I didn't teach Kajiro well. Don't worry, next time, I will definitely teach Kajiro well, and make him a noble gentleman." Walking to the door, Yu heard the conversation inside and said, "Uncle, Aunt, Yu, are you up? Didn't I disturb you yesterday?" Kajiro's father looked at Yu and said, "It's okay. I couldn't sleep yesterday, so I went out to look for my cousin. I found that my cousin returned to the rocket team and was with Musashi Meowth. He probably won't come back in a short time." Yu said. "You also looked for him. It's really hard. As for your cousin, don't worry too much. As long as he is in Kanto, we will find him sooner or later." Kajiro's father said, "You saw it all. Why didn't you bring Kajiro back?" Lumigia said. Yu rolled his eyes and said, "I'm alone. Do you want me to hit you with my fist? Besides, when I came back, there was a Pokémon looking for you. Raichu." Yu moved to the side, revealing the figure of Raichu. Raichu was overjoyed to see Lumigia, and jumped towards Lumigia with joy, ready to accept a warm embrace. "Why did you come back?" However, what awaited Raichu was not the joy of Lumigia's embrace, but a face of disgust and fear, and his body dodged to the side. Raichu fell to the ground, looking at Lumigia in confusion, not knowing why the owner who once loved it so much was now so afraid of it. "Why did you come back? I told you to stay there. Who told you to come to me?" Lumigia looked at Raichu with dissatisfaction. Raichu's smile suddenly dimmed. "Lumigia, as its trainer, you abandoned it privately, which is against morality and law." Yu couldn't help but say, although he had already guessed it before coming. But when he really saw it, Yu couldn't help but get angry. Pokémon and trainers have an equal relationship. Even in Yu's heart, Pokémon comes first and trainers come second. But in fact, Pokémon has always paid more. For the trainer, Pokémon fearlessly fights and struggles to gain honor for the trainer. When in danger, Pokémon sacrifices itself and protects the trainer with its body, even at all costs. For trainers, Pokémon is only a small part of their lives, and a Pokémon is even less important. But for many Pokémon, the trainer is everything. Abandoning Pokémon is the most disgusting behavior in Yu's heart, and abandoning it under deception is even more disgusting. I have paid the fine for abandoning it, and I have destroyed the Pokeball. It is now Wild Room Pokémon. Lumigia said disdainfully. Fines are like non-existent to her. Lei Raichu walked towards Lumigia with the last hope, with a heartbreaking light flashing in his eyes. But Lumigia took a few steps back, and said with disgust, "Go away. I raised you, because you were cute, but you are not cute at all now. You are fat and heavy. You are not elegant at all, and do not conform to the noble style. Moreover, after you evolved, the electric current on your body would come out from time to time, and it shocked me several times. You are no longer worthy of being my Lumigia's Pokémon. If you don't appear in front of me, I may occasionally remember what you looked like when you were Pikachu, but now, you appear in front of me, which will only make me hate you more. My Pokémon only needs Tyrannosaurus Rex. My Pokémon only needs Tyrannosaurus Rex." Lumigia's voice echoed in Raichu's mind, with a look of despair on his face, no longer happy as before, lowering his head, and leaving here step by step. You please, don't bring this kind of Pokémon to me again in the future." Lumigia looked at Ulysses feebly. Yu's face was livid, and an energy ball condensed in his right hand, and then flew out quickly, hitting Lumigia's face, and knocking Lumigia down on the sofa. "Uncle, Aunt, I'm sorry, I just can't help it. I've never taken the initiative to beat a girl in my life, but I feel like I can't get over it if I don't beat her up today. I'm leaving first." Yu apologized to his uncle and aunt, then turned around and went to find Raichu. After that, Lumigia stood up, furious, and scolded Yu. Xiaojilung's parents comforted him softly before leaving. Xiaoyu has such a bad temper, he really takes after his mother. After Lumigia left, Xiaojilung's father sighed. "Yes, at school, Xiaowon chased you around the yard with a stick and beat you." Xiaojilung's mother also laughed. She and Xiaojilung's father were childhood sweethearts, so naturally she knew about these ugly things. The old days are all over. Xiaojilung's father coughed dryly. "Okay, but what about Xiaojilung?" Xiaojilung's mother asked. "If he wants to escape so badly, let him run away. Otherwise, even if we catch him, we can't win his heart back. He has grown a lot in these years, but he is still too soft, not as good as Xiaoyao. If Xiaoyao faces these things and hits him, he will just run away. Even so, he can't inherit our family business. To be the head of our Sasaki family, you must be strong and ruthless, otherwise you might be swallowed up without leaving any bones," said Zyanojiro's father. "That's why we found a strong Lumigia for him, so that the woman can be the breadwinner and the man can be the homemaker, but he is still running away," said Zyanojiro's mother. "Forget it, don't care, as long as he doesn't die. They can think about it themselves. If they really can't inherit, talk to Xiaoyao and let him give birth to a child to adopt Sasaki. As for Zyajiro, we will give him personal property that is not related to the company, so that he can live a carefree life for 10 years, said Zyanojiro's father. "Well, let him venture out again, and hope to change his personality," said Zyanojiro's mother. "Well, that's it. By the way, Wana said that the environment in Alala is very good. Let's go for a trip," Kajiro's father said. "Okay." Kajiro's mother leaned on Kajiro's father's shoulder, with a loving look on her face. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.